Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. President Trump is on his way to northern Kentucky, where he is going to campaign against Thomas Massie. It's an amazing thing. Trading Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massie for Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin and thinking it's a win. Wow. Well, that's what Trump is doing. We have some clips, the line to get into the rally today. Some Trump supporters were interviewed. And we've talked about this phenomenon before, but I got to say, there's an itch today. And I hate to do it, but there's an itch today. So we're going to go to those clips. And then we're going to tie this into how all of the propaganda around this war that is getting spewed out by the mainstream media, it just becomes their talking point. It becomes the talking point of all the people at this rally, and they're repeating the exact same thing, just like what we saw with the left for all of those years. And then just like what we saw during COVID, 2 weeks to slow the spread, safe and effective, 6 feet social distance, all this stuff that was the parroted propaganda, and then the people started parroting it. Now the same thing is happening with these Trump supporters. Really an amazing thing to witness. So we'll get into that. Of course, we do have a lot of news as far as the Iran war is concerned today. There's been a couple developments there, a couple of headlines. We're going to get through that, a couple of clips that are, it's all starting to come into picture here. As if there was any doubt amongst this audience of why this war is really being fought. There's really no denying it at this point. As we get more context, more clips, more commentary from the people that are influencing it. And it brings me to what I'm going to call the Trump access algorithm. The Trump access algorithm. They come out now, the White House, and Mike Johnson just said this during a panel on C-SPAN. They're not doing the mass deportations, and they're going to back off the mass deportation rhetoric. And he says, this is because we're losing voters. This is because we're losing all of the ground we gain with Hispanic American voters. These people are so out of touch, it's unreal. They really think that deportations is what's costing them Hispanic American voters. So once again, a total swing and miss. And a broken promise. But this is everything to do with the Trump access algorithm. So we're going to make sense of that today. It's the first you'll hear about that, but it'll all make sense when we get there. And I'm going to start us off with something that I think it should be a much bigger deal. And the fact that we're not talking about it, the fact that we're not heartbroken and outraged by it, it just says where we're at as a country. It says where we're at in the political conversation. It's pretty much determined now that it was a U.S. strike that hit the girls' school. That's pretty much determined. Where is the outrage? Where is the outcry? Everybody that can hear my voice right now knows if that would have been in Israel or America, but let's keep it to the Middle East. If that would have been an Israeli school where hundreds of school children were bombed and killed, it would be an international incident. It would be the lead on every media. It would be the top story, and there'd be an all-out war because of it. But because it's an Iranian school and it was a U.S. strike, silence. No outrage, no outcry, no international incident, no justification for more war. And whatever you think about the war, that doesn't even come into play here. This is about where are our ethics?
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
All right, things are getting crazy out there. Maybe they're always crazy. Maybe they're crazier than ever. It's hard to tell these days. But if you haven't done anything for emergency food supplies, folks, this is the starter pack for you. And it really doesn't get any easier than this. Right now, when you go to preparewithowen.com and you get their 4-week emergency food supply, they are including a 1-week ammo can. They call it the ammo can. It comes in an ammo can. It's kind of built for travel. Like if you wanted to go on a hike or go out into the woods, camping or something for a week, this would take care of you. That's why they call it the ammo can, easy to travel with. But you can add it to your emergency food preparedness. Unless, of course, you haven't even done that yet, then this is the easy thing to do. This is the deal for you. From our friends at My Patriot Supply, here's where we decide to go with My Patriot Supply. Highest quality emergency preparedness food, at least 2,000 calories a day in their meal kits. And these are made with real ingredients, no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, and the shelf life measured in decades. You can store it for decades, folks. That's why My Patriot Supply is the #1 preparedness company right now with over 3 million satisfied customers. So maybe you've done some emergency food preparedness, want to just add a little bit, take advantage of this offer. If you've done none, this is the easiest way to get in. This is the easiest way to make sure you have something for yourself, your family, your home, if there is an emergency and you need something to eat and you don't have emergency food, you don't have anything left in your pantry, your refrigerator, the stores are closed, go to preparewithowen.com. 4-week kit plus free 1-week ammo can. That's the offer right now. You can go to preparewithowen.com, or you can just scan that barcode if you're watching. Just scan that barcode right on the screen, and it will take you to the website, and you can take advantage of this fantastic offer. Make sure you are prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Insurance you can eat. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Preparewithowen.com.
Turn my food to 1.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Hey, guys, has anybody seen Dan Bongino lately? Anybody seen him, heard from him? Is he still on air? I'm dead serious. Haven't seen or heard anything about Dan Bongino for weeks. Is he still doing his show? I actually had a recommendation pop up, and it looked like there was some girl, I guess, either hosting his show, or I don't know if he's still doing his show. I don't know what's going on. So I just kind of say that to encapsulate. It's kind of a measuring stick, I think, of where MAGA is at. We were all anticipating, with the fallout of Bongino returning to his show, that it would kind of go this way. And I don't know if I want to go as far as to say he's irrelevant. I don't think that's inaccurate. I won't go that far. I'm not sure I have the current media standing to make such a statement. But in comparison, in relativity to where he was at, I think that it's probably pretty fair. And it seemed like when he made the return, the interest was to see, okay, he's back. What is he going to say now that he left the FBI? No deep state arrests. Nothing really substantial to hang his hat on other than just business as usual. And now that we're a couple weeks through that, Nobody's talking about him. Nobody's sharing the clips. I haven't seen or heard anything, and I'm genuinely curious if he's even doing his show anymore. I'm just scrolling through some of my news feeds today, and a Bongino report video got suggested, but it was some girl. I guess it was that same girl he was doing it with before, not Evita Duffy. It was that other girl that before he returned to his show. Nobody even knows her name. Nobody knows who she is. So I think that just kind of shows you what has happened to MAGA. The momentum is gone. The magic is gone. And if you can find a measuring stick kind of outside of the political morass and noise of it all, the Bongino return and then disappear. I don't even know what's going on with it. That's kind of your measuring stick. The fact that Dan Bongino can go from arguably one of the top podcasters in America. I mean, I'd say probably pretty fair to say as far as internet streaming, Bongino easily top 10, maybe top 5 before he joined the Trump administration. Now he leaves the Trump administration. He goes back to that show that was formerly top 10, and doesn't even exist anymore. So I'm not saying this to be mean to Dan. This isn't some hit piece. No, I'm saying it's a measuring stick to show how the magic is gone. And I see all of this hype about Vance or Rubio for 2028, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. I remain steadfast in my belief that nobody from this administration is going to be electable. I still believe that is true. And I think the Bongino post-administration result is the proof. If there was still all of this magic behind MAGA, if there was still all of this magic behind Trump, if people really looked at the Trump administration with the high value that they had going into the election, then Bongino would return to his show and be a hero. He would be a hero, and his show would be as big as ever. So the fact that it's the opposite, that's the measuring stick. That's the proof. The magic is gone. The support is gone. You can't ride. You can't sail your ship from the wind of Trump anymore. It's dead. So I think the fall off of the Bongino show is the best measuring stick to show that. No polls, no agendas, just results. And then you use that measurement to say, okay, so what happens when Vance or Rubio leaves the administration? It's going to be the same thing, flatline. There'll be some curiosity, be like, oh, okay, what are they going to do now outside of the Trump world? And then once there's nothing of substance there, click, turning it off. Turning it off. So I'm genuinely asking. It seems like nobody even knows in the comments. So I think that's proof positive. I'm genuinely asking, is Bongino even doing a show anymore? I don't see or hear anything about him anymore. I hope he's okay. I always kind of suspected he might be going through some other stuff, and maybe that's what led to him leaving. But I don't know. I just don't know if he's doing a show. And quite frankly, from a media standpoint, you know, a lot of people learn the hard way. A lot of people have to learn the hard way how difficult it is to do a show every day. And I'm not complaining. Wow, we're getting buzzed right now. Some jet just flew right over my house. Whole house just shook. You guys might have heard that. Okay. Am I in Iran? What's happening here? Gosh, I just got distracted by getting who just flew a jet over my house like that? Just shook the whole damn house. Who was that? Was that one of you guys in the chat? Was that a threat? Was that a warning? Now I can't even think straight. That was such a loud jet. I don't even know what just happened. What was I talking about? Bongino? How nobody's interested anymore? How that's going to translate to the elections? I can't even finish my thought now because of that damn jet. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Unbelievable. That's right. That's right. I'm not actually in a garage. I'm actually in an airport hangar. You got me. You got me. I'm in an airport hangar, not a garage. That's funny. Let's see if you guys can pick me up. Pick me up off the ground here, guys. Pick me up. Yeah, okay. A lot of people find out the hard way. Thank you, chat. Thank you. A lot of people find out the hard way that it's difficult to do a show every day. Now, I'm not complaining. I love what I do. I feel I was born to do this. I've been doing it since high school. I can do this. And I mean, it's easy for me. But a lot of people find out how hard it is to do a show every day, even if it is just an hour. And trust me, I hear from a lot of people in the media that do a show every day that didn't really come from the media, never really did live shows every day. And then they get offered a job to do a show every day. And they call me and they're like, how do you do this? Like, what do you do? How is this possible? And then they might even come from an environment where you have a team of producers and writers that take a lot of the effort off you. And they're like, well, what do your writers do? What do your producers do? And I'm like, dude, I'm everything. I don't have anybody. This is just me. My point is that it must be even more difficult if you're in a position like Dan to do a show every day, knowing you can't even really talk. It's like, I don't even know what you're going to talk about. What are you going to just spew the White House propaganda? Nobody wants that crap. What are you going to do? Go on air every day and tell everybody how great everything is, how great Trump is? Nobody wants that. Doesn't hit. It's not even true. So maybe that's why he's not doing the show anymore. Because how do you do deep state Dan Bongino coverage when you just left the FBI and Trump's the deep state? So anyway, I didn't even plan on covering that today. But right before I went live, like I said, the Bongino thing popped up. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I totally forgot about Dan Bongino. Used to be a daily listener. Totally forgotten. I mean, that again, it's just, that is the real world metric. That is the real world measuring system of the post-MAGA world right there. It's dead. The magic is gone. The interest is gone. And whatever political momentum, whatever political capital, it's all gone. It's all gone. The magic is gone. It's all gone. And when you trade, so that's like the measuring stick for it. The result is you just traded Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massey for Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham. That's what you got. That's what you got. So there you go. So your measuring stick, your metrics, your logistics measuring stick is the fall off of Dan Bongino. Your political attitude result is you traded Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massey for Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham. There's where MAGA is at. So let's get into the actual show. I was really upset about this last night. And it's not that I'm not upset about it today. We're not going to have any cortisol spikes here or anything like that, but it is very upsetting. And you know that right after this happened, I called this out first. I said, they're going to determine that this was a U.S. strike based off of bad Israeli intelligence. Had it here first. Now we're pretty much, I'd say we're 95% of the way being proven completely right at this point. And there's all kinds of stories out there today. U.S. at fault in strike on school in Iran. Preliminary inquiry says outdated targeting data may have resulted in a mistaken missile strike, according to the ongoing military investigation, which undercuts President Trump's assertion that Iran could be to blame. So I don't want to go into the details of this. We've already showed the details of this on this show since it happened all last week. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that we had this story for you last week. I am. Now, there's two things you have to understand since it's virtually confirmed at this point. You see how they just blame everything on, in this case, Iran, but, fill in the blank. It's anybody. They just take any negative story, any negative outcome, any negative result, and they just say, oh, it was the terrorists. Oh, it was the Muslims. Oh, it was Iran. Oh, it was radical Islam. Whatever it is, that's what they do. This is not the first time they did it. So a school gets blown up. Obviously, nobody wants to take responsibility for that. What an awful thing. The only country that seems to have no problem blowing up children is Israel. Because it's in their defense. They have a right to defend themselves. Black Lives Matter. Israel has a right to defend itself. So it just shows how they just blame everything. This is how the Western media propaganda works. This is how the military-industrial complex propaganda works. This is how the Israeli interest propaganda works, is, something bad happens. First wave of intelligence, just blame it on the other guy. It's like, we don't really know what happened, so just blame it on the other guy. First wave, first impression, first time most people are going to see or hear, maybe the only time they're going to see or hear about this story. So make sure they blame it on Iran. They knew it wasn't Iran. Are you kidding me? You don't think the United States knew that was their target? You don't think they knew when they hit the double tap button? They knew the whole time. Don't be so naive. So they just came out and blamed Iran. They lie to you. They consciously lie to you. They know they did it, and they said it was Iran. They have no problem lying to you. You want to make excuses as to why they lie? That's for you to do. You want to excuse everything this administration does? You want to excuse everything the administration does when it's your guy in charge? Because let's be very clear. Let's look at the double standard. Let's apply logic universally. If this happened when Biden was president, MAGA would be outraged. If this happened when Biden was president, there would be calls for impeachment. There would be calls for war crime investigation, crimes against humanity. Oh, yeah. You know damn right. If this was the Biden administration that did this, every single person that claims to be MAGA would be calling for Biden to be impeached and investigation into crimes against humanity. But since it's the Trump administration, MAGA likes it now. If logic cannot be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. If this was a school in Israel, if there was a girls' school in Israel that got double tapped and hundreds of children killed, it would be an international incident. It would be the lead. It would be the close. It would be a household story. It would be dinner table conversation. It would be an international incident. Every world leader would be making a statement. It'd be justification for total war. But since it happened in Iran, not the case. If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. Now, aside from all of that, let's take the politics out of it. Let's take the politics out of this, and let's just look at it from just a human standpoint. You've got these videos. Unfortunately, we've been seeing these videos for a couple years now, obviously, of children in the Gaza Strip, Palestinian children, and, what it is they're dealing with right now. And now you've got videos, similar videos, coming out of Iran. And then you hear about this story of the military strike, a double tap on children. And so what's shocking to me in a moment like this, and I guess you do have to have the ability to separate politics from humanity. You do. You have to have that. You have to have that ability. And I guess some people can't do it, or they don't want to do it, whatever. But I think to really understand this, you have to be able to separate the politics from the humanity here. I don't understand. I can't relate in any way, shape, or form to people that aren't completely heartbroken by this. I really can't. I don't understand. And I've got an example, and I guess I'll just show the example now because this was in a response to my post about this. So this is what I posted this morning. So we're trying our best to ignore the fact our war efforts blew up a school of innocent children. If this happened in Israel, it would be an international incident. Every media outlet and every world leader would be condemning it, and it would justify total war. So why isn't this happening? Now, everybody knows that's true. So this is a response I get. I'm not bothered in the slightest. This is a war. People die in wars. Intent matters. I don't even know what to say. If you don't think killing innocent children, if that doesn't bother you, then there's something wrong with you. In fact, there's something so deeply wrong with you, you really shouldn't even be involved in politics. There is something so disturbingly wrong with you if bombing innocent children in a school, if that doesn't bother you, there is something so disturbingly wrong with you that you don't need to be talking about politics. Your opinion needs to be completely invalidated. You are completely discredited in this case. Now, if you want to get down to let's get down to the ground level. Isn't the whole point of politics, the whole fraud of politics, but isn't the whole origin is that we're trying to do what's good for people? Like, isn't that the whole political tug of war? It's like, no, my policy is better for people. My policy is better for people. Like, isn't that supposed to be what politicking is all about? What gets the best result for the most people? So if you're willing to come out here and say, oh, well, killing innocent school children doesn't bother me, you're so sick in the head, you're so depraved, you shouldn't be talking about politics at all. You need to sit this one out. I don't know what it is with you that doesn't bother you, but I'm sorry, you're completely invalidated as far as any opinion you have. And I don't think it's a reach. And obviously, I'm just using that as an example. Tons of people are saying the same thing. This is a general attitude. This is a general attitude of people that are excusing these wars. Hey, you want to support the war for whatever the cause? Okay, I understand. Not everybody's going to agree with me all the time. I get it. I'm an anti-war guy. You like these wars? You think they're justified? Fine. I don't. Okay, we disagree. Where is the debate that you're okay with blowing up a school of innocent children? Where is that debate? How can you not see you've lost it? How can you not see you've lost your humanity? You've lost your mind. And I don't think it's a stretch. I don't think it's a stretch whatsoever to compare this to people that celebrate abortion. In fact, I would put these two people in the same category. It's unfathomable to me how anybody can be unbothered by bombing innocent school children. It's unfathomable to me why people would want to kill their children. These two things are so unfathomable, so foreign to me, I can't even comprehend them. I can't even understand what part of your human soul have you lost that you would want to kill your child? What part of your human soul have you lost that you are not bothered by killing innocent school children? What happened? You want to have a political debate. Oh, well, abortion, should the government be involved? Should there be times when it's okay, whatever? Okay, political debate. No. We're talking about people that celebrate abortion. We're talking about people that intentionally kill their kid because they don't want it, a final form of birth control. To me, that's just, there's something wrong with you. Same thing goes here. Oh, you're okay. Oh, well, it's war. We blew up some children at school, a couple hundred. It's war. Whatever. Intent matters. As if you know the intent. But you go back to the logical argument here. There is no way that same logic would be applied in any other situation. Whether if it happened in Israel, it wouldn't be just said, oh, well, this is just war. It wouldn't be said, oh, I'm indifferent. It's just war. Intent matters. No. There's no equal application of logic here. And if somebody blew up an American school with girls, or if we found out, heaven forbid, if we find out there's some mass shooting and it's some Iran apologist, Iran supporter that does it, you think we'd just say, well, it's war. Well, it's war. This is just the cost of war. Doesn't bother me. Do you think any single American would be saying that? If some guy walked into a school with an Iranian flag and a strap-on bomb vest, do you think any American would be saying, well, this is the cost of war? Well, this just happens. Of course not. Do you think Iran treats it that way? Do you think the Iranian people say, oh, well, America bombed a school today. It's just war. It's just the cost of war. It's okay. I'm not bothered by it. It's unbelievable to me to see this as part of the conversation of MAGA. Again, political disagreements happen. Nobody's ever going to see the world exactly as you do. Nobody is ever going to have the same politics as you do. It's never going to happen. But where do we differentiate as humans? MAGA was supposed to be the moral movement. MAGA was supposed to be the pro-human movement, the anti-war movement. And it's anything but now. It's anything but now. When I see people celebrating war and saying, no big deal that we blew up a school. I don't get it. I don't get it. I can't relate to it. It's extremely disturbing. It's disgusting. It's demonic. And if I want to get controversial about it, I suppose now's the time. You know what it seems like is happening? And this has been going on for a while. And I've been saying this for a while. We're slowly but surely, our country is slowly but surely adopting the Israeli mindset. And I guess it makes sense when you see all the influence that they've had over our politics and our media. But there's this bloodthirsty nature that we're sold out of Israel. And you just justify it all. And then what does Israel have to do? They have to build an iron dome. Well, you start to see the same thing happening here. There's this weird bloodlust running amongst American politics now, bombing multiple countries 24/7, just like Israel. And now what are we hearing? Now we need a Golden Dome. This Middle East attitude of just constant war, constant holy war, constant theological war, constant bloodlust, constant blood sacrifice, it seems to have infected our body politic now. It seems to have affected the soul of America now. It's really unfortunate. It's the antithesis of what America is supposed to be about, what it's meant to be. And you'll see people that will make the argument, well, this is how empires work. This is how the American empire works. And so for your way of life, this is the cost. This is the cost benefit, is that you get this standard of living, and we sell our morals a little bit. We sell our soul a little bit. We sell out a little bit, but we get this standard of living. So, okay, that's the unspoken arrangement here. That's the unspoken agreement. So then I would just ask, well, then how far does this go? How far does it go? How much of our soul, how much of our freedom do we have to sell in order to maintain our way of life? Because I think we're starting to get to a certain threshold here. It seems like we're starting to get to a certain threshold where we're going to have to sell everything. We're going to have to sell all of our morals. We're going to have to sell all of our freedoms. We're going to have to sell out the republic all together in order to maintain this empire. That's where this seems like it's going. And it seems like now that's the role that Trump has decided to play. It seems like that's the role that Trump has decided to go with here. And it's a total boomer mindset. And that's not to attack a generation of people, but just to try to put it into words here. It's the American empire, and you have the political class that has this dream of their new world order, and they have all of these different countries and leaders they need to overthrow before they leave the planet, and it seems like they're just going for broke. And at this point, they don't really care what the cost is. It's all about the American empire and expanding it and keeping the 1% that run it in charge of the entire planet. That's what it feels like. So if we have to sell our morals, if we have to sell our military out, if we have to sell our politics out, if we have to sell our people out, if we have to sell everything out to maintain this American empire, then we're going to do it, and we're going to view it as worth it. But it's only worth it to them because they're the ones getting rich. And they don't understand that down here, the rest of the American people are not getting rich. They're barely getting by. And for them, they're starting to wonder if it's worth it. Is maintaining this American empire really worth it if my way of life is not what it once was? And I think Tim Dillon, funny enough, a comedian, really said it best when he talked about how, 70s, 80s, 90s even, it was like, yeah, we know we get lied to by the government. We know our foreign policy is corrupt. We know politics is corrupt, and it's pretty much nothing but bad and evil scum. But at least I can afford a new car. At least I can afford a new house and own it and not be in insurmountable debt. At least I can work my job and afford to take my family on a 1 or 2 week vacation, traveling somewhere once a year. I can make sure my kids are in a nice, safe school, getting a good education, whatever. We're living in a safe community. It's like, yeah, okay. It's kind of the unspoken agreement between the government and the people. Like, yeah, the government, you guys are totally corrupt, nothing but lying scum. But you know what? Down here with the people, we got it pretty good, and things are pretty good and happy and healthy and safe. So, okay, yeah, we're going to let you guys do that. We're just going to maintain our own lifestyle, maintain our own business. That unspoken agreement doesn't work anymore because the rest of the country isn't living like that. The rest of the country is getting by paycheck to paycheck. The rest of the country is getting by with insurmountable debt. The rest of the country is either doing work that they don't view as rewarding or barely pays the bills. So that unspoken agreement is broken. And the government is more corrupt than ever. And you could argue the average American is in a worse position than they've been in 50 years. So this isn't going anywhere. We wanted Trump. We thought Trump would turn this ship around. It didn't happen. If anything, he actually he put the gas down. He sped it up. But let's go to President Trump. He offered some comments. Oh, God. If I have to listen to the helicopter in these clips, I might just lose my mind. But this was Trump outside of the White House before he left to campaign against Thomas Massie in Kentucky, answering some questions. First, he gets asked about the change in leadership going from one. Oh, there it is. Why do they do this to us, guys? Why do they hate us so much? Why do we have to put up with listening to these pop-up press conferences while the engines of a helicopter are roaring in the background and it sounds like a damn tornado? Why do they do this to us? Can you not, like, is it impossible for Trump to take questions anywhere else? Is there nowhere else we can take questions that I have to sit here and listen to a damn tornado in the background when I'm trying to get a clip from the president? Like, can we not do it just like behind the stairs to buffer the sound? Can we not put like just a sound buffer so the president can stand behind it? Can we not do it right inside the door? Like, is there really nowhere else? I hate this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ranting. You know, this has been a pet peeve of mine. So I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. We can only do a pop-up press conference here as the helicopter engine sounds like an F5 tornado. So I'm sorry about that. This is just what they do to us. So Trump's asked about replacing one nominee to the new nominee for $10 billion.
Can you declare victory in this war if the supreme leader remains the Ayatollah's son?
I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to comment. But I will tell you, I just spoke with various countries, the leaders of various countries. You'll have a list. And they said they've never seen anything like it. We have, and I built it during my first term, and I used it. I didn't realize I was going to use it this much, but we have the greatest military in the world by far. Nobody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize I'd be using it this much. Yeah. I wonder. It's a funny thing to say. No, I don't know what you want to say about it. I still think that they're going to just come out and declare victory. I still think that that's what they're going to do. They're going to have to push the pause on this, folks, and then regroup and decide what they're going to do, because this has been a failure at every level. And you just paid $15 billion to replace Khamenei with Khamenei. Except the old Khamenei was old and probably already on his way out. The new Khamenei is more radical than his father and just had his entire family killed. So wonder how that's going to go. You guys, you need to understand that this has failed at every level. And for those that listen, I'm sorry for the redundancy, but this is so important for people to understand. I still think they're going to come out and declare victory and whatever. They've got enough brainwashed minions out there that'll say, yes, victory, yes, just like they did after we did the strikes on the nuclear sites and they said, it's over, we got victory. And then, okay, they ended up being wrong. So he'll probably just come out and declare victory. But this has been nothing but a failure. It's cost us at least $15 billion, at least 8 American service members' lives. But let's look at the actual agendas. Let's look at the actual processes. So first it was, we're going to bomb the nuclear sites and then that'll be that. Okay, well, that was a lie or a failure. We'll have more on that coming up later. So then it was, we're going to have an insurgency with our intelligence agencies, and this is all public information. This isn't conspiracy theory. Mike Pompeo admitted it. Netanyahu admitted it. The CIA and the Mossad sent insurgents to try to do a astroturfed color revolution on the streets. That's what they tried to do. And that's when you had the whole protesters things, getting arrested, getting killed. Who knows the real story about that? But that's what that was. That was for Iran, foreign intelligence insurgencies trying to start a revolution to overthrow Khamenei from the ground in Iran. That failed. So then they said, all right, we can't get the insurgency revolution on the ground because the people are afraid of the regime. So we'll just kill the regime. So, okay, so now they launched the war. They've dropped like whatever, hundreds of bombs, thousands of bombs, whatever it is. They've killed thousands of people. They've killed the regime. And so now they're saying again, all right, we killed the entire regime and we just annihilated the military. Go take your country. So this is effort number 2. Effort number 2 to try to get a revolution on the ground and the Iranians to actually go in and take back their country, whatever that looks like. It failed. It didn't work. So at this point, I don't even know if they know what to do. Iran is not negotiating. The international community is not falling into line with the Israeli agenda. So they don't have the support of the international community they thought. They didn't get the support on the ground to overthrow the government that they thought. So now they're just bombing every day until I don't know what. So what I think will happen is either they might do it now, where they might just drop the big bomb now and just destroy everything and then just move their people in there and there'll just be no resistance because they'll kill however many, maybe millions of people. Or they'll step back, declare victory, just like they did last summer, and they're saying, oh, we got victory. We annihilated their military. We killed their leadership. Oh, victory, victory, victory. And they'll pull back, declare victory. All the MAGA pom-pom wavers and cheerleaders and cucks in their cuck chairs will all celebrate everything else. The pro-war military industrial complex media will kind of just, they'll kind of sit back and they'll question a little bit, but they won't go too into detail. And they'll just declare war. And then they'll try to restructure the whole thing. And they'll go back to their different players in the international community to see where they're standing. It'll be much worse this time, by the way. I don't think whatever leverage or whatever trust, whatever good faith negotiation strategies that they had prior to this war, I think that'll all be gone. I think that'll all be gone. I think it'll be gone from Europe. I think it'll be gone from the Gulf nation states. I've been saying it for 2 weeks. I think I've already been proven correct on this, but we'll wait and see. But they'll go back to the international community, reshuffle the deck, see what players can maybe get on their side or help them out, or what players are in, what players are out. And then they'll probably come back this summer and like legitimately maybe even drop a nuke and just say, there's no other way to do it. And that might sound crazy, and I hope it is. I hope it's crazy. I hope there's 0% chance. But I mean, that's what Trump is basically saying. Trump says we'll use force that has never been seen in the world before. So, it's the funniest thing. When you actually listen to Trump and then you talk about what he says and respond to what he says, these MAGA cult people go crazy. It's like Trump is the one that said all of his donors are Israel first. Trump said that. And then I say it and they're like, oh, you're attacking Trump. No, Trump said that. I say, hey, I think they might be talking about nuking Iran. Oh, you're crazy. How could you say that? Well, what do you think Trump means? What do you think Trump means when he says we will use a weapon the likes of which the world has never seen before? So bigger than a nuke? I mean, what are we talking about? So it sounds crazy. This is what Trump is saying. And why are we doing it all? Well, I guess that's the $1 million question. I guess that's the $1 million question. Why are we doing it all? Is it blackmail? Is it money? Is it foreign interest? Is it special interest? Is it the Epstein class? Is it the secret societies, the shadow government going for the New World Order, killing off any opposition, killing off any leadership that might not go along with it? But this is now where the administration is at. We're not honing in on $1 trillion in DOGE cuts annually. We're not honing in on identifying all the waste, fraud, and abuse and arresting all the criminals. No deep state arrests, no draining of the swamp, no massive reform of our corrupt, totally corrupt government. No, none of that is happening. It's all, once again, back to the Middle East. It's all, once again, back to the foreign interests, back to the special interest, back to the donor class interest running the country, and the American people getting left behind. Right back to it. So let's go to this last Trump clip with the engines blaring in the background. It's so nice for them to do that to us. And then we'll go to the Trump rally happening in Kentucky. But Trump was asked directly about the strike on the school. And for obvious reasons, he doesn't want to answer that.
Wrong. As commander-in-chief, you take responsibility for that.
That is what?
As commander-in-chief, do you...
For what?
For the strike on the school in Iran. A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it.
Iran. As commander-in-chief...
He doesn't know about that. He doesn't know about that. I mean, give me a break, guys. He doesn't know about that? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe Trump doesn't know about that? And if that's true, if it's true and he doesn't know about that, well, I would say that that's probably a problem. Wouldn't you?
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, take your blackout coffee break, ladies and gentlemen. First break of the show. That means it's time for you to go grab your blackout coffee. If you don't have any in your house, what are you doing? Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. 20% off, by the way, 20% off for your first order at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. All you got to do is use coupon code Owen at checkout to get 20% off your first order. Just use coupon code Owen at checkout, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. I've been, I'm always telling you about the premium instant coffee because it is the best instant coffee out there. But I've kind of been a sucker for the single serve pods. And where is the double dark chocolate is still my favorite. But where is the other one? The hazelnut cream. I got to tell you, I'm kind of a sucker for the hazelnut cream right now. And it's nice because you don't have to use, there's all those weird artificial sweeteners and there's all those weird, like different coffee creams and stuff that people use to try to get that extra hint of flavor. And you don't need any of that. You don't need any of that with these single serve pods. That's why I like them so much. They have the flavor already built in, ready to go. So I've been a bit of a sucker for the hazelnut cream. I don't know though. I think the double dark chocolate is still my favorite. Over 30 flavors though. Over 30 flavors of the single serve pods at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Yes, they've got the bags of coffee as well. Light roast, medium roast, dark roast, whole bean or ground, whatever you want. It's all at blackoutcoffee.com, the official coffee of the Owen Report. And remember, if you've never tried Blackout Coffee before, go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen and get 20% off your first order with coupon code Owen.
No one can stop this. No one can stop this. No que stop this. No que stop this.
It's America's home for political play-by-play. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, Trump has taken the stage at the anti-Massey rally. You know, that's going to be an interesting one to see. I've already kind of been following it today. A lot of the people that went there in line are actually Massey supporters, but they're also Trump supporters. And so I've got some clips of that. I said this a couple weeks ago, and I have to tell you, watching this, I thought about actually going to this to do this exact thing, but I'd rather be here with you guys doing the Owen Report every day. But I said, you know, I was kind of, the biggest thing that really launched my content, let's say, that really launched my political career or political media career was going out and owning the libs. And it was really easy to do at that time because the anti-Trump libs were the most brainwashed people in the world. And they literally would just parrot the same propaganda on whatever they see on TV or in the media they consume. And so it was really easy to go out there knowing exactly what they think to a T, and then being able to basically completely fool them or own them or destroy them with facts, because you knew exactly what they were going to say and you knew exactly how to counter it. Well, now that's the case with these Trump supporters. Now that type of content would really be driving me to go out and do it to Trump supporters now. And so you get a hint of it outside of this Massey rally. And so let's go to some of these clips. This is Newsmax on the ground talking to Trump supporters outside of the rally.
Thomas Massey supporters here. Anyone? All right, silence, deafening silence. And sir, why is that? Why are there no Thomas Massey supporters here for Donald Trump?
I can't speak for this area, but
We're in his district.
Right. Well, I'm 4 hours from here. I'm in Western Kentucky.
So these people aren't even from Massey's district.
Thomas Massey,
They were probably bussed in.
to me, has been a formidable person in the Trump administration, but he has a tendency to flip-flop on some issues.
So I'd say, what issues has Massey flip-flopped on? He wouldn't be able to name one.
And
he does vote with the president about 90% of the time, though. Let me ask you, sir, the war in Iran, is this going to help the president?
So he saw that guy was clearly brainwashed, so he moved on. So at that point, it was like either you embarrass this guy or you just move on. So that's when I would have started the process of, oh, what has Massey flip-flopped on? He would have had nothing. What is Thomas Massey's grade on the Liberty score? Oh, it's an A+. What Republicans in Congress have a higher grade than Thomas Massey on the Liberty score? Oh, none? Oh, okay. So again, what did he flip-flop? So it's just, but this guy from Newsmax decided, I'm not going to go that route, and just went to this guy.
If he can get out of it in the next couple of weeks, or could this potentially hurt him heading into the midterms?
I think it should help.
So now he's talking to a boomer that thinks the Iran war is good and will help the Republicans in the midterms.
It doesn't last too long. We don't want it to last too long, but...
if it doesn't last too long. Well, what is too long?
It's something that needs to be done for 47 years.
It needs to be done for 47 years. Look, amazing. Isn't it amazing? What an original thought.
Absolutely. Boots on the ground, does that concern you, sir?
Yes, sir. I've got a grandson in Jordan at this particular time, and it does concern you. But at the same time, I'm like Danny, I do feel like it's needed to be done for a long time.
He was about to say 47 years, but he was like, yeah, I don't want to say it. Notice how he was about to say 47 years, and instead he says a long time. Watch.
All right. Well, thank you all very much.
A long time.
All right. Well,
I'm like Danny, I do feel like it's needed to be done for a long time.
Says 40, a long time. I guess his son's name is Danny. So it sounds like, if you listen to it again, I mean, I'm guessing here. Let's be fair. I'm guessing. I don't know who Danny is. He brings up Danny. He brings up his grandson who's in Jordan, and then he says Danny. So I mean, I think it's not unrealistic to say he's talking about his grandson. So what that sounds like to me is that his grandson Danny doesn't like it. What it sounds like to me is that his grandson Danny and him are having a conversation about this, and his grandson doesn't like it, and his grandpa is telling him it has to be done.
It does concern you, but at the same time, I'm like Danny, I do feel like it's needed to be done for a long time.
all right. Well, thank you all very much. We appreciate it. We're in Northern Kentucky, John. Hebron, Kentucky. The president, right down the road, he's speaking at a biotech facility in Cincinnati, and then he'll be coming over here. The president expected to arrive in Ohio within the hour.
So, yeah. Nowhere near the energy. Nowhere near the energy that you used to have out there. And notice the age of the crowd is, the average age of the crowd is much older than it was. Just pointing these observable facts out. You also had MS Now. Are we calling it MS Now yet? Or are we still calling it MSNBC? I don't really like MS Now, but I guess we have to start getting used to it. So MS Now, M. Snow. I kind of like M. Snow. M. Snow was out there talking to Trump supporters. Let's see how that one went.
The end result is what we're doing, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so they all support the war in Iran. Notice how old they all are.
I mean, like I said earlier,
And what is the end result? So here it is. Do you support the war in Iran?
The end result is what we're doing, and I think it's a good thing.
The end result is what we're doing, and I think it's a good thing. What does that even mean? Again, notice the age.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, short-term pain for what I hope will be a long-term gain.
Oh, another original thought. Oh, we need to do this for 47 years. Oh, short-term pain, long-term gain. Oh, wow. They don't even have an original thought anymore.
In Iran with a Western-friendly government would be a complete game changer for the Middle East. Western-friendly.
I think you misspoke. I think you misspelled Israel.
Which understandably would affect oil prices positively.
The end result is what we're doing.
This is where we're at. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate. Not a young person in sight. Not a young person in sight. I got to say, it's amazing, guys. It's amazing. And I love everybody, okay? I love my parents. I love my listening audience that is older than me. I love you all. And I don't do the generational warfare. It's not what this is about. This is just about political play-by-play. This is about calling it as it is. And I can't help but notice two things. Now, obviously, I can point at the age of the people that are attending these rallies now, the age of the people that are still supporting Trump. And there's clearly an age discrepancy. And I find a couple things ironic. The one thing I find ironic to start this conversation is I remember, if you go back to 2015, and some of you will remember this. Again, none of these are blanket statements. So for people that are above 50 in my audience, they're saying, I'm above 50. I always were with Trump, or I don't like Trump. No, it's not a blanket statement. I hear you. I'm with you. Not a blanket statement. But if we go back to 2015, it was the young right-wingers that supported Trump, and it was the older right-wingers that didn't like Trump. That was my experience. I'd say that was probably the average experience in right-wing politics in 2015. I remember when I would argue politics with boomers and above, they were not in support of Trump. It was the younger, right-wing, anti-establishment, disenfranchised, conservative Republicans that all supported Trump, and it was the older right-wing establishment Republicans that were all anti-Trump. Now, here we are more than 10 years later, and it's all of the older boomer right-wing establishment Republicans that like Trump, and it's all of the young people that are sick of Trump. Isn't that crazy? That's just a crazy phenomenon that we've just witnessed since 2015 as far as Trump support is concerned. Now, if you really want to just get into where it's at now, again, it's exhibited at this rally. The only people, if you want to make it into an issue-based argument, the Iran war, it's basically getting the majority of support from 50 and above. The majority of support for the Iran war is people aged 50 and above. The majority of distaste or disgust over the Iran war is coming from people 40 and below. These are observable facts. These are true. Whatever you think about it, we debate politics. Not everybody sees the same thing. People grow up in different worlds. But there's clearly a generational gap here. There is clearly an age discrepancy here. And if I can easily observe that, the people in charge can. If I can easily make this observation without, I don't have billions of dollars at stake here. I don't have borders, language, and culture at stake here. But to the donor class, that is what at stake. To the special interests, to the foreign interests, that's exactly what's at stake here. So if I can make these easily observable measurements, then certainly the donor class can. So they're obviously seeing where this is going. And that's what I think is the biggest driving force right now, is that the special interests, the foreign interests, the donor class, they know that their entire agenda, they know that the world that they are building to leave for us is so unpopular. And yet there's this weird belief that if they can just finish the job, that is so unpopular, then they'll prove themselves. They'll prove it to themselves, or they'll prove it to us, whatever it is. I think that that's the driving force here. I think if you want to be extremely specific, I think the Israeli interests, I think the Netanyahu interests, they know that Israel is not popular, generally speaking, with Americans under the age of 40. In fact, extremely unpopular with Americans under the age of 40. So they know whatever political leverage that they have, whatever political support that they have in about 10 years is gone. Pretty much entirely gone. And so they have to move their interest forward as quickly as possible right now. And I would even say, as I've said before, I think Trump, in the agreement with the Israelis, believed they had a 4-year window to do all this. Well, now that they see the midterms are not looking good, they've shrunk that window into 2 years. They made that decision on New Year's, and now they're pushing the gas for the regime change war in Iran that they continue to fail with. But to me, that seems to be the generation gap, age disparity, as far as these issues are concerned. And then as far as, well, why are they doing this when it's so unpopular? Why are they rushing this when they clearly don't even have a successful strategy? It's because they feel like the clock is running out. You got March Madness basketball coming up. You're down by 2 points and you got 2 seconds left. You're going to have to fire a wild shot from half court. It's like, yeah, you'd like to get down into the half court, establish and run a play, but you only got 2 seconds. So just get the ball in and throw it up wherever you got it. That's where they're at. That's why they bombed a school. That's why they can't get the regime change. They're running out of time, and so they're just throwing up the shot from half court because they have no other choice. They can't establish a half court offense and run a play because they don't have the time. They don't have the time in this administration, and they don't have the time in multiple election cycles because these issues are becoming less and less popular with each and every election cycle, and they're getting way more directional and aimed at Israel. So for all of these reasons, that's why the Middle East is once again the top priority of another administration. Check out this denial, though. This is, wow. I can't say I've ever seen this level of, did he really just say that? Rep. Jack Kimball, Republican representing California's 45th district. When you're tempted to blame Trump's war for the cost of gas, remember this is still the Biden economy. Oh, no. Oh, no. So by that logic, the Biden economy was Trump's economy. So now you're saying that the Biden economy, which was so bad, was actually Trump's economy by that logic. Are you sure you want to commit to that? But then 2, so now we're saying the economy is not good? So now we're saying the economy is not good and we're not in the golden age, but that's Biden's fault. I'm getting I'm getting some mixed messages here, guys. I don't know. Somebody make it make sense. I don't know if you can with that one. Other than, man, we are just lying through our teeth with every statement, and we don't know what else to do right now. And we're losing popularity. Oh, the Dow is at 50K. Oh, crap. The Dow's not even at 50K anymore. Crap. We gave you the Epstein files. Oh, no, you redacted them, and we haven't even gotten half of them, and nobody's been arrested. Oh, boy. Oh, but the war in Iran. Oh, it's going so well. Oh, my God. Oh, it's funny, man. It's funny. You could get extremely depressed over this. I mean, hell, look at the price I paid to keep this movement going. Yeah, some ways it's pretty depressing. Other ways it's just hilarious. Let's look at this, though. Let's get to, I've got a recent statement from Trump coming up, but I want to go back. This is July 19th. This was the Iran strikes. from President Trump. He says all 3 nuclear sites in Iran were completely destroyed and or obliterated. It would take years. It would take years, plural, to bring them back into service. And if Iran wanted to do so, they would be much better off starting anew in 3 different locations prior to those sites being obliterated, should they decide to do so. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, okay. So let's just be fair. Was he lying then, or is he lying now? Now they come out, oh, they were weeks away again. So it used to be they were years away now. We obliterated it. They were years away, to just a few short months later, they're just days away again. So was he lying then, or is he lying now? Or was he lying the entire time? I don't care. If you're the biggest Trump supporter out there, that's fine. That's your prerogative. We all get to make our own political minds up in this country. It's part of the great thing about it. I love it. But don't sit here and make excuses for obvious lies. Was he lying then, or is he lying now? But hey, they believe the lies no matter what he says, and so that's why we're in this position. So he comes out with this one today. America is returning to real energy dominance. Today, I'm proud to announce that America First Refining is opening the first new U.S. oil refinery in 50 years. This is a historic $300 billion deal, the biggest in U.S. history, a massive win for American workers, yada, yada, yada. Thank you, our partners in India, their largest privately held energy company, Reliance, for its tremendous investment. It's because of our America First agenda. Oh, yeah, everybody believes that. Streamlining permits, lowering taxes, on and on and on. So here's the deal. This deal was actually cut in 2024. And it was a $3 to $4 billion deal with the India energy company, Reliance. So I don't know where he gets this stuff. And I was trying to read into this, like where he gets this 300 billion number. And it seems like he's talking about that's like all time. It's like eventually this oil is going to make a $300 billion profit is the only measurement people can make sense of it. The deal was a $3 to $4 billion investment, and the deal was actually made in 2024. But hey, believe whatever you want. He never lies. So there was a story that came out about the Republicans wanting to back off mass deportations. Now, Trump has been signaling this for a while, and there's some obvious reasons why, and maybe there's some good reasons, maybe there's some bad reasons. But as Trump has explained, well, he says we need the workers. So you can take that however you want. You can believe that we need the workers, or you can believe that this is the donor class that wants cheap labor on the farms, in the manufacturing plants, etc. And maybe there's a combo of factors here. But regardless, you're not getting the mass deportations. Trump has said we're not going to do the mass deportations. And he's even said we have to keep some of the illegals here. And now Republicans are pushing for amnesty in Congress. So they come out because some Republicans are still talking about mass deportations because it was a top issue. And you know what's actually even funnier? I guess maybe you could say this was about border security. So I don't know if this is totally fair. But Trump ran with, at all of his rallies, that graph, because it was the graph that was on the board when the bullet went by him. And it was all about illegal immigration. So it was like, no, that was one of the biggest issues in the campaign. No war and mass deportations. And now you're not getting mass deportations and you're getting mass war. It was like the big issue. So the Republicans here, they're still pushing mass deportations. They got elections to win. They know it's a popular thing to run on. So the Republicans are still pushing mass deportations. Well, the White House sends out a memo and they asked the Republicans to stop talking about mass deportations because the administration is not going to do them. It's not going to happen. So we get a little more insight on this. Now, Bill Malugin from Fox obviously has his White House sources. So he replies to this. Now, we're going to get to the official, there was a statement made by a White House official. I'll get to that in a second. And then we'll get to the statement made by Mike Johnson. But here's Bill Malugin with his comments. White House official responds to Axios report that he told Republicans to stop mentioning mass deportations. This won't go over well with the MAGA base, considering mass deportations was a core campaign promise. It was never sold as just targeting violent criminal aliens for deportation. This would be no different than Biden policy. Watch out, Bill. Too much truth there, Bill, for Fox News in 2026. So here's the White House official. So this is after it was confirmed the White House is telling Republicans not to push for mass deportations anymore because it makes the administration look bad. So here's the White House official confirming it. He says, it's very simple. Republicans want to keep deporting the violent/criminal illegals that Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress let in. Democrats want to shield them from deportation, which is why they unanimously support sanctuary cities. Republicans will get the violent criminals out. Democrats will throw the border back open. Choose accordingly. So let's respond to this and why this is such a failed logic, and it will be a failed policy, and it will result in losing elections. So, again, if we are going to talk about how Joe Biden and his administration and Mayorkas let, that's the word here, let in, why aren't there any criminal charges? If the Biden administration, if Alejandro Mayorkas specifically aided and abetted in human trafficking, aided and abetted in illegal immigration, then why are there no charges? Why are there no arrests? Don't sit here and point the finger at Democrats saying, but look, Democrats committed a crime and then don't arrest anybody. We're sick of that. Like, don't you get that's why we're so frustrated? Don't you understand why that's why Trump supporters are so, or former Trump supporters now, are so disenfranchised? You keep sitting here telling us about the Biden crime family. You keep sitting here telling us about all the crimes that the Democrats commit, and you don't arrest a single person. I mean, you say it. They let in criminals. Let in criminals. How is that not a crime? How is that not aiding and abetting in crime? So where are the arrests? I don't want to hear it. And so here we go again. Democrats want to shield them from deportation. That's why they support sanctuary cities. So where are the arrests? Again, you are highlighting a crime. If I am hoarding illegal aliens in my house, let's say I'm running a trafficking home here, and I've got a bunch of illegal aliens waiting to get to their next stop or whatever, and local law enforcement, DHS, whoever, if they show up to my house and they say, you're harboring illegal aliens, we have orders here to deport them, and I block you and I shield them, I'm committing a crime. I'm going to jail. So they're saying, again, hey, Democrats are committing crimes. So where are the arrests? And then the coup de grace. Republicans will get the violent criminals out. Democrats will throw the border back open. Oh, well, golly gee. Why would the Democrats throw the border back open? So here you are in two separate lines accusing the Democrats of committing crimes, and then you conclude it with, if we don't win the midterms, they're going to commit crimes again. If we don't win the elections, they're going to commit crimes again. So where are the arrests? Do you want to know why the Democrats are going to throw the border wide open when they get back into power? Because they never get arrested. And then you sit here, this White House, they sit here, all the propagandists for this White House, they sit here and they point the finger at us and they say, you're going to cost us the midterms. Support Trump no matter what. You're going to cost us the midterms. No, what's going to cost us the midterms is bad policy, bad execution, no mass deportations, more war. That's what's going to cost us the midterms. Don't blame it on us. And then they say, well, we better make sure Democrats don't get in or they're going to throw the border wide open again. No, you guys are the ones that are making sure the Democrats get in. And because you refuse to do deep state arrests, and because you have refused to arrest the Democrats that are committing crimes by your own measurements when it comes to illegal immigration, yes, they will open the border again because they never get arrested. It's really that simple. I can't believe I have to explain it to these people. And then there's Mike Johnson. So now Mike Johnson, he wants to offer his explanation of why you're not getting the mass deportations. And for him, it's race-based. Huh? Listen to this statement from Mike Johnson as to why there won't be mass deportations.
Future. We got a little hiccup with some of the Hispanic and Latino voters for certain because...
So the Trump campaign gained a lot of Hispanic and Latino voters because it was popular policy against wars, putting America first. Okay.
Some of the immigration enforcement was viewed to be overzealous, and everybody can describe it differently.
And so now he's theorizing. He doesn't cite any political research, but he's theorizing that, oh, well, we're losing support of Hispanic and Latino voters because of the mass deportations. Guys, let me explain to you how stupid this is. Let me explain to you the multiple levels of stupidity here. First of all, let's just go with the basis of the statement. We're losing Hispanic and Latino voters because of the mass deportation policy. Do you really believe that? You don't think that the Hispanic and Latino voters that voted for Trump don't support mass deportations? You don't actually believe that, right? You don't actually believe that the people that come to this country legally, who just might happen to be Hispanic or Latino Americans, but they're Americans, they're citizens, they go through the process, and they followed the Trump campaign talking about mass deportations at every single campaign stop. Oh, they didn't want mass deportations? They were against mass deportations? They were probably for mass deportations more than any other demographic. So what are you even talking about? I will agree, you're definitely probably losing support from all different angles. We're losing Hispanic and Latino American votes because of the mass deportation policies. You don't actually believe that, do you? There's no way. And I guarantee you, if you actually had any political polling or anything, that would not be run out as true. Okay, so you're willing to, but let's okay, so even though it's just completely outrageous, the statement on its face, well, let's go with it. So you're willing to change one of your biggest campaign issues. You're willing to do an about face with one of your number one campaign promises because you think there's going to be a hiccup with a demographic of votes. Yet here you are also breaking the campaign promise of no new wars in Iran, which is going to be a massive, that's not going to be a hiccup. That's going to be like a 102-degree fever of losing voters and losing support. But you're willing to go through with that. So you're willing to go through with the most unpopular war in modern history. You're willing to completely betray your base and centrist and libertarians and anti-war voters that shift every election, by the way. Those are the ones that end up determining the election. every election cycle, every presidential election. Those are the ones that determine whether their votes go left and right. That's who decides the winner. And you're willing to completely abandon them and go forward with the war in Iran. But a tiny little demographic that probably doesn't exist, you're going to break one of your biggest campaign promises to satisfy a Hispanic, Latino American demographic that supposedly doesn't like mass deportations, as if they didn't know that's what they were voting for with Trump. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. But on its face, what does it say? On its face, it says that this administration does not care if they lose votes by going to this unpopular war, but they do care if they lose votes if they do mass deportations. I think that's enough of that. I think that's enough of that. All right, let's get into these headlines. Latest from the war. Dozens of U.S. service members in Kuwait suffered serious injuries, including burns, brain trauma, and shrapnel wounds, sources say. Now, there's 8 confirmed deaths. Who knows what that number really is? And then who knows what the extent of these injuries are? Like, are we talking about, permanent brain damage, people unable to walk, unable to think, kind of going into a vegetative state? I mean, how bad are we talking here? But according to this, there are dozens of them that are still in military hospitals or still in hospitals. And then this basically confirms what we were being told, at least half of the story, about the hospital in Germany that was shut down and overrun by all of these injuries. Now, it doesn't talk about, as some of the rumors going around were indicating, that there were a lot more dead. It doesn't indicate that, but it does confirm that some of those rumors coming out of Germany about that hospital were true, and that they were overrun with the injured from this war in Iran. So, I don't know if we're getting the full story. I think we're closer to the full story here, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And obviously, it's not like this thing is ending today. Where are we at, by the way? You guys want to see the Iran war cost tracker? Day number 12, 11.7 billion. I think it's actually 16 billion. This is just accounting for the daily cost, not the initial $5 billion cost that was just to start the operation. And also, that doesn't take into account all of the buildup to get the military personnel into the region and set up. So really, this is probably, I think you're talking about a $20 billion tab. I'd say the Iran war has cost America probably $20 billion, I'd say. And that might be a low estimate, but I think that's a fair estimate, about $20 billion. And you just had the latest dead soldier return from the war. And you know who wasn't there? President Trump. Trump skips dignified transfer after everyone trashed his hat. So I guess that's what they're going with because of the hat thing. Donald Trump wore a branded baseball cap to a dignified transfer ceremony over the weekend, sparking outrage. So the latest dignified transfer of the latest dead American soldier, he just decided he wouldn't even go. He just decided not to show up. And we'll see if they even offer any comment as to why. I don't know how common that is. Does that ever happen? Does it regularly happen? If it was Biden, it'd be a huge outrage. if Biden skipped a dignified transfer of a war he started, there'd be massive outrage. I don't know if it's warranted for this or not, but if Biden skipped it, there'd be a huge outrage. I do wonder if he skipped it because he needed to get his rest before campaigning against Thomas Massie, though. I do wonder if maybe that was it. That might have actually been 2 nights ago. So, but they're not really talking about it. But there you go. He skipped the dignified transfer. There'll probably be more, unfortunately. FBI warns Iran aspired to attack California with drones in retaliation for war. And I wonder where they got that intelligence. Probably the same Israeli intelligence that told them the drones off the East Coast were Iranian. That was a total lie. Probably the same Israeli intelligence that told us that school was an Iran military base. Another lie. And then we had kids killed because of it. I don't know. I don't really believe this. I'll be honest. I think this is just Israeli intelligence to bait us into a larger war with Iran. I think if there was a serious threat here, it'd just be either lone wolf actors or people that got into the country when Joe Biden was president that are basically what they would call sleeper cells. I would say those are the real threat, not a drone that we would likely be able to spot and take care of before it ever even reached the shores of California. So I think this is just more fake Israeli intelligence. But, Iranian minister says country will not play in World Cup. Iran are not in a position to participate in the 2026 World Cup, says the country's Minister of Sports and Youth, Ahmed Dayamali. The team are scheduled to play 3 group matches in the tournament, which is being held in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and gets underway in June. Iran was going to face New Zealand, Belgium, in Los Angeles in mid-June, and then Egypt. But their participation has been in doubt since the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on the country. Now, if you want to get conspiratorial, you could say Iran is basically maybe planning to attack the World Cup, so why would they send a team there? FIFA and President Trump have said they're welcome to come and compete, which is ironic since Russia doesn't get to. But that's a whole nother double standard. It's a whole nother story. So what do? The whole thing is turning out bad. First, you got the situation in Mexico with the dead bodies and the cartel chaos. Now you've got Iran saying they might not even send their team to play. Whole thing is just turning into a very tragic disaster here. Really unfortunate. The one thing that can, give us a morale boost, unfortunately, the sports ball. And even that's getting tainted now. Hasty redeployment of U.S. missiles from South Korea to the Middle East leaves Seoul rattled. South Korea's president has sought to reassure the public that the country is able to deter threats from the North. So we're abandoning our allies in South Korea to make sure our allies in Israel are taken care of. It's been almost a decade since the sleepy South Korean village of Seongju was transferred overnight into a key location in the country's ability to counter an attack from North Korea. And so we had these THAAD missile defense systems there to support our allies in South Korea. Now we're taking those down and moving those into the Middle East. So maybe that's a sign that things aren't calming down, or maybe that's a sign that if they do calm down, they're going to be ready to charge them up in round 3. This seems like a big swing and miss. Again, it tells you they weren't ready. They had to rush the play. Trump pulled minesweepers from the Middle East, and they're sitting in Philadelphia as the Iran war wages. So now the Iranian military is dropping these mines in the Strait of Hormuz. There's been at least one tanker confirmed attacked. Who knows what the real number is? But now they're saying they have these mines out there, and we don't even have the minesweepers in the waters to take care of these things. Now, do you think our military wants to go through these waters without the minesweepers? It's one thing to say, hey, we'll escort you. And then if there is any attacks that we can, offer some counter attack, some defense there. But now you don't even have the minesweepers there. Now you're talking about putting your own people in danger as well. It's not going well. Let's just say it like that. As President Donald Trump warns Iran against using mines to threaten oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. Navy's purpose-built minesweepers are sitting stateside thousands of miles away with no plans to put them to use. Boy, that seems like a major blunder. Who's that on? Who is that one on? The International Energy Agency agrees to release record 400 million barrels of oil to address Iran war supply disruption. The International Energy Agency's 32 member countries agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil to address the Iran war supply disruption. It is the largest release of emergency stockpiles in the history of the IEA. IEA members are advanced economies in Europe, North America, and Northeast Asia. Japan said earlier it will release oil stockpiles as early as next week. Well, that's going to be for the Japanese people. And then all over the world, now I'm not seeing it here in America, but in parts of Asia and the Middle East, gas stations are basically, I've seen it here before, maybe a couple times. Maybe we've seen it where the gas station lines, you end up like 20, 30 cars in a line. Haven't seen that here yet, but it's already happening in other places around the world. And so first you had Trump releasing the oil sanctions on Russia, and that helped the price per barrel go down. I'm not sure if this will really help anything long-term. It looks like a short-term of addressing the situation. And then I guess they're hoping they can figure out the situation with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz by the end of the week. And I think that's basically, this buys them about till Friday, I would say. I would say this buys them till about Friday. Here's another part of this war that's so corrupt that kind of gets not talked about. You know why they always do this stuff on a Friday, right? It's all because of the stock market. And a lot of people say, well, it's because people, these wars are unpopular, so you do it on a weekend when nobody's watching the news. Well, there's a little bit of truth to that. No, the real story is they do it on Friday because of the stock market. So they like to have the stock market, under control for the week. And then when they know what's going to happen on the weekend, they make all of their moves on Thursday and Friday to set themselves up for whatever is going to happen on Monday. That's how rigged this stuff is. That's how rigged the whole thing is. That's how corrupt this administration is. So I wouldn't be surprised if something new happens this weekend. There's been a bump in the stock market. So you're starting to get the waves happening again. But don't be surprised if something happens again on a Friday night, since we've kind of seen this new life back into the stock market here. Don't be surprised if something happens Friday night or over the weekend that they're prepping themselves for in the next 72 hours. And that's exactly what they do. That's how corrupt it is. They say, oh, gee, they're going to do it on Friday because of the news cycle. No, they do it on Friday because the stock market is closed. They do it on Friday, and they know it's going to happen on Friday. So on Thursday and Friday, all of the players that are involved, all the insiders that are involved, the donor class, the special interests, the foreign interests that get the inside information, they all strategically place themselves for the close Friday so that whatever happens on the weekend, they have already preempted that with their decisions for Monday when the stock market opens, and then the rest of the people are just responding accordingly. So that's really why they do it on Friday. That's how corrupt this whole thing is. Oil storage facilities hit in Oman's Salalah port. Ambry and State TV say, well, this was also confirmed. So another oil facility has been struck. How many is that now? Oil tankers hit, oil facilities struck, pipelines blown up. And then there's Spain. Maybe the most anti-Israel country in Europe. Spain permanently withdraws ambassador to Israel as rift deepens. Madrid announces envoy's position has been terminated. Foreign ministry says embassy in Tel Aviv will be led by Charge d'Affaires for foreseeable future. So Spain is just completely done with Israel. They're just totally done, totally sick of it. You know, it's a weird situation. I think Spain and Turkey are two good examples of this. Spain has like some of the worst domestic policy, specifically when it comes to immigration. Like they just let anyone into their country, which is it's a weird thing. You know, you think about like Italy, you think about Spain, Greece. You know, these are supposed to be like really proud European cultures, right? Like the Spanish people, the Spanish culture, they're proud. Italians, proud. And then they just open their borders and destroy their country and their gene pool and everything else. So that goes on in Spain. Spain has some of the most liberal immigration policies in Europe, and they just keep doubling down on it. But then their foreign policy is great. Their foreign policy is you might say, isolationist, neutral, like to remain peaceful. And they've identified Israel as probably the most corrupt, evil country in the world right now under Netanyahu. It's like the same thing in Turkey. It's like Turkey's domestic policy, very totalitarian, very authoritarian with some other policy measurements, maybe like farther to the right where Spain is farther to the left. But it's like, yeah, like real authoritarian domestic policy in Turkey. And then you look at their foreign policy and it's like really good. It's like really good foreign policy. It's really weird how that works, isn't it? It's like you get one or the other. It's like you either get the most disastrous foreign policy and then good domestic policy, or you get the worst domestic policy but good foreign policy. Funny how that works. And here's another way of. So this is Senator Mark. Is this Senator Mark Warner? Or is this Dan Goldman? No, I think this is Dan Goldman here. Yeah, Dan Goldman. He gets asked about the situation and why we went to war. Let's hear what Goldman has to say.
What is the reason, if the nuclear program isn't the reason, as poor Ted Cruz, I never thought I'd put those three words together, is over there talking about nukes? And we know that the intelligence did not suggest that an attack was imminent from Iran. What is left? Why are we at war with Iran?
Great question. Yeah, great question. I mean, the simplest explanation, might be the one that they gave 24 hours in, that they've kind of tried to backtrack since then, which is that Israel made us do it. That Bibi decided on this timeline. Netanyahu decided he wanted to attack.
Senator Chris Murphy, that's who we're dealing with here. All these Democrats just kind of morph into Chuck Schumer,
And he convinced Trump to join him by scaring Trump into believing that U.S. assets in the region would be.
So everybody knows it was for Israel. Here's, folks, I'm telling you, you can see it. You can see it building. The Democrats are going to run on the anti-Israel ticket. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. Now, I'm not telling you that that's going to change the result of anything. I'm not telling you that the Democrats that take money from AIPAC aren't going to end up voting to support Israel every time they can. I'm just telling you all the signs, and we had it here first, all the signs were that's where the Democrats were going to go. They know that that's how they can win these midterm elections. They know how unpopular Israel is. They know that all the swing voters will go left if they see the Democrats tackle foreign policy directionally against Israel, and if they run on that in the midterms, I'm telling you, and that's what this is. Why else would all these senators be coming out and saying it? Why else would you have all these major Democrat voices all saying it? They're testing the waters. They're dipping their toe in the water. They saw some candidates come out and make blatantly anti-Israel statements or say, I'm not taking AIPAC money or I'm turning my money, giving it back to AIPAC. So that was like the first, like, okay, send out a test. That was like, all right, we sent out a test. Oh, that went kind of well. So now all these other Democrats are kind of dipping their toe in the water and saying, oh, so this could help me get elected? This can make me more popular? They're going to go on it. They're going to recognize that that can win them the midterms, and they're going to go with it. Again, I'm not telling you it's going to change any results, but they will run on it. They will run on it. They keep inching closer and closer and closer and closer to making it one of their big midterm campaign issues. Here's a Trump advisor that doesn't even seem to have a basic grasp of the Constitution. And this is what's being told to Trump. This is what's being told to Trump, by the way, and why we're here. So a Trump administration member debating about the constitutionality of starting this war without Congress. Listen.
Congress does not have a constitutional role in the declaration of war.
Again, this is a Trump advisor. Congress does not have a role in the declaration of war. That is the exact quote from a Trump advisor.
Congress does not have a constitutional role in the declaration of war. Congress has a role in cutting off funds for wars, which it has threatened to do. The president doesn't have to.
Now, by the way, if anybody in the White House actually believed that, then why would they tell people not to call it a war? Because they know that's not true.
Get permission, but yes, you can debate, you can decide, that's his choice and how he wants to do it.
I mean, here I will quote the Constitution: the Congress shall have power to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water.
And she's silent. She doesn't know what to say. It's just like, oh, I just said that that's not true. I just got owned.
I think
the president shall be the commander-in-chief of the army, but it is Congress that has the power to declare war.
So constitutionally, the Constitution says Congress has the power to declare war. But
okay, so now you're admitting that. Okay, so it took you 30 seconds to just admit you were totally wrong on that. Okay, well, at least you admit that.
The issue is whether or not a president who deploys military force abroad needs to do so only after having Congress declare war. There are arguments by constitutional lawyers, which I'm not, like Robert Turner.
You don't say. I could have never guessed you weren't a constitutional lawyer when you don't even know the basics of the Constitution. So she goes on with the excuses as to why they're doing this illegally. All right, we got more. We got more war stuff. Let's take our second break of the show. We're going to go to former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett with some crazy statements he made to the media. We'll have that on the other side.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Folks, what are you doing to protect your wealth? What are you doing? You need to at least be thinking about it. Maybe you're thinking about, as so many others are, precious metals, gold, silver. We've seen what's happened. We've seen major governments, major banking institutions, they're all rushing into precious metals. Why? Because they believe it's the safest bet right now, as the markets are volatile, the dollar not going the right direction, bank runs, all of these things are leading people to believe the best decision they can make is investing in gold and silver. That's why I partnered with Allegiance Gold, and they want to have a talk. They just want to talk to you first. If you're thinking about this, if you have any questions, just give them a call. Call us free, 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. The reason why I've partnered with Allegiance Gold, it's simple. They're relationship driven. They have an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. So important when it comes to precious metals. So important to have that A+ rating. They've got it. Not to mention 4.9 stars from real clients. They're transparent and they focus on educating you first. That's why the phone call is free. 844-790-9191. And when you call them, ask them about their $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. You heard that right. $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments, whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings. They make it simple to move and easy to understand. So if you've been thinking about this, you've been thinking about silver, you've been thinking about gold, maybe you don't want to have all that money in the bank, whatever it is you're thinking about, give them a call. Give Allegiance Gold a call, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. Take advantage of that offer, folks, because $5,000 in gold and silver, that weight keeps going down. Think about that. The weight of $5,000 in gold and silver continues to go down. So if you're thinking about it, give them a call or make the move. Go to protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, third and final hour of the show today. I think we can get through the rest of this news and get into our super chats. We'll find out. We still got quite a bit of news and a lot of video clips. So let's get into it. Let's start here. This is former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett saying a couple interesting things. And again, it just shows you where all this war propaganda is coming from. It's coming from foreign interests. It's coming from Israel. So here's here's them now admitting this has been what Israel has been trying to do for decades. This has been why AIPAC and the Israeli lobbyists have been buying up Congress and Israeli interests, buying up American media. They have been pushing us and propagandizing us into this war for 47 years. Here he admits it.
To have the octopus is the entire Iranian regime. And if it falls, then all its tentacles will just dry out. It means that Hezbollah won't get the $1 billion a year and will dry out.
By the way, this is what they said about every other regime change war. Oh, we just need to get them and we'll be good. This is what they say. And then next it'll be Turkey, and then next it'll be Saudi Arabia. So it's just more lies.
Hamas, Islamic Jihad, the Houthis, the Iraqi arm of Iran. So if you cut the head of the octopus off, you solve 70-80% of the problems in the Middle East. That's why this campaign is just so important. I've been pushing for this for about a decade now, that we shouldn't be fighting the tentacles. We should go to the head of the octopus.
And there it is. So who's the head of the octopus of the deep state? Who's the head of the octopus that is corrupting our country? Boy, it seems a lot of Americans are figuring that out, but we're not allowed to talk about that. Isn't that funny? And now, now he ends up contradicting himself. And again, who told you first, guys? Who told you first Turkey was next? Who told you first Turkey was next? Right here, 2 weeks ago. So now they're going for Turkey. So it's funny, he contradicts himself. So he says, oh, once we get Iran, then it's all taken care of. Oh, but also, never mind, we need Turkey.
Let me just ask you whether there's a risk of further confrontation with Turkey based on comments that you said in the past.
Well, we need to ensure that Erdogan doesn't create a new alliance of radical Islam Sunni version, meaning an axis between himself, Julani, Qatar, and Hamas. We've been facing for many decades the Shiite radical Islam, and I hope that Turkey doesn't choose to foment terror and Islamism in its power.
Isn't it funny? Like, who made you guys the king of the world? Oh, that's right. That's your religious belief. And therein lies the problem. They all believe they are God's chosen people and they actually own the planet. They look at everyone else as their minions. That's what drives this whole ideology, because you say, well, geez, who is this guy that just gets to determine the rest of the world's fate? How is it this, a tiny country the size of New Jersey? Oh, well, how does this tiny country the size of New Jersey get to determine the entire fate of the planet, the entire fate of the Middle East, the entire fate of America? How is that? It's clearly what they say. It's clearly what they're doing. It's like, who ordained you? Who gave you the moral high ground? The world has actually decided. You guys are on the low. You guys have the moral low ground. You are the most immoral country in the world right now. And now here he is, just dictating, nope, every country has to abide by what we say, and no Islamic leaders can exist. And it's like, what? Where do you even get here? Now, what do you know about Naftali Bennett? I didn't know this. I was doing a little more research when I decided to play those clips today. It's an interesting past. Naftali Bennett was part of a 1996, what many would call war crime in Lebanon. Oh, that's right, Lebanon. Yes, the same Lebanon that Israel is militarily demolishing right now and displacing 1 million people to claim it's their own. We'll have more of that coming up. Naftali Bennett in 1996 was part of what many viewed as a war crime in Lebanon. And then enter Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden, whatever he was at the time, was one of the first people to call out Naftali Bennett for committing these war crimes in Lebanon. And after that happened, all of a sudden, they decided they were going to start using Osama bin Laden as the boogeyman that he eventually ended up being for September 11th. The more you know. Anyway, so this is Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. And, I just understand why I do this. Because I get it. I get why a lot of people are sick of hearing about it. But, part of what I do is I counter propaganda. Part of what I do is find the source for disputes or issues and then reveal the truth or try to help people have an understanding or a better informed opinion on said issues. So obviously the Israel issue is, it's one of the number one things right now in the American political discussion. So there really is no avoiding it. But if you don't want to deal with it or you're sick of hearing about it, I can understand. The problem is we have to counter propaganda, and it's never been more obvious that the source of propaganda is Israeli interest, if not Israel itself, when it comes to supporting these wars specifically. But there's no denying it. And I guess that the purpose here is for anybody that wants to tell you Israel doesn't have this influence, or anybody that wants to tell you that Israel doesn't get special rules and regulations and double standards. It's just so ridiculous to deny that is the truth. That is blatantly the truth. It's never been more obvious, so we'll continue to prove it. So we go to the Texas Lieutenant Governor. Why would anybody even say this? Like, why would an American politician even say anything like this?
Pastor Hagee called me one day and said, Dan, this is back in 2017. Dan, we need an anti-BDS law in Texas. And I believe.
Now, the anti-BDS law, that's just making it illegal that's making it illegal to quote unquote boycott Israel.
I could be corrected. We were the first state in the country. It was a priority bill for me, Senate Bill 29, I remember. And we passed the anti-BDS law in 2017 in Texas, because if anyone's not going to do business with Israel, then Texas will not do business with them. And when we speak.
Now, why is that? There is no such idea for any other entity. If you won't do business with New Jersey, if you won't do business with California, or if you won't do business with Turkey, if you won't do business with, there is no such other country that gets this treatment. None. So, but why? Why does this even exist? If you don't want to do business with Israel, you can't do business with Texas? What is that? Where does this even come from? Why does this even exist? It's the only country that gets such a treatment.
In Texas, it means something. It means something, because we are the 7th largest economy in the world. And when we say to a company, you can't do business here, if you turn your back on Israel, it costs them hundreds of millions or billions of dollars.
If you turn your back on Israel, a foreign country, it will cost you hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. Why does this policy even exist? Why is the Lieutenant Governor of Texas warning Americans about disloyalty to Israel? Are you going to deny that that's what this is?
So when we swing the stick in Texas, it gets attention. Pastor Hagee.
Unbelievable. Don't worry, we got more. Same conference. This is a Jewish Coalition conference. You just saw Dan Patrick speaking out. Now there's Norm Coleman. Listen to what he says. This is in America. This is in Washington, D.C.
As conservatives, as Republicans, we have an obligation, not a suggestion, not a courtesy, an obligation to confront anti-Semitic bad actors when they appear on our side.
You have an obligation to confront anti-Semitism, which of course they just is anything that disagrees with foreign policy is anti-Semitism. So it's not even really anti-Semitism. It's not even really what they claim it is. It's all a total lie. But whether or not you believe it, you have an obligation. You as an American have an obligation. You have an obligation to support Black Lives Matter. You have an obligation to stop transphobia. You have an obligation to support LGBTQ+. You have an obligation to stop anti-Semitism. Woke.
Of the political aisle. We must not look the other way because it's uncomfortable. We cannot stay silent because the offender may have a large platform or a loyal following. The integrity of conservatism demands more from us. Right now, some of the most prominent polemicists trafficking in this ancient hatred on the right are Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. These are not fringe figures whispering in dark corners. They have large megaphones. They reach audiences of millions, and they have chosen to use that reach to launder conspiratorial thinking about the Jews through the language of geopolitics and grievance. We cannot ignore a younger contingent rising beneath them, figures like Nick Fuentes and James Fishback in Florida, who bring a different style to the same ugly substance. These are provocateurs who revel in transgression. You heard the comment with the titillation of transgression. They are drawn to taboos precisely because that breaking them generates attention. And there is no taboo they are more thrilling to test than the one against Jew hatred.
Isn't that amazing? It's all woke. And now you have conferences in Washington, D.C. that tell you you're not allowed to boycott Israel or you will be punished financially. And you have conferences in Washington, D.C. that say you have an obligation to stand up for Israel as an American. But if you dare say, gee, seems like Israel has a lot of influence, they say, oh, you're an anti-Semite, and now it all kicks in. See how that works? So, hey, there's no Israeli influence here. But by the way, if you are disloyal to Israel, we're going to punish you financially, and you have an obligation to stand up for Israel. You say, gee, that sounds like Israeli influence. Oh, you're an anti-Semite. You lose your financing. You're an anti-Semite. We're sticking all of our dogs on you. Gee, I wonder why that's not popular. Gee, I wonder why that's losing right-wing voters. Oh, yeah. And, you are so concerned about the midterms. You care so much about the midterms that you're going to change policy on mass deportations because you're afraid you're going to lose some Hispanic American voters. But on the biggest issue right now of foreign influence, you're doubling and tripling down, which is only going to alienate more voters. And then you're going to tell Americans, oh, we don't want anything to do with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, who all of them have bigger followings than whoever that guy is. Millions of followers that could actually sway an election result. But no, you're going to decide it's not worth it because it's more important. Israel is more important. Oh, you think there's no way there's more today? How about Shlomo Kramer, the godfather of Israeli cybersecurity on CNBC? Listen to this.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it and quickly.
Excuse me?
It's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment, to limit the First Amendment. It's time to limit the First Amendment. It's time to limit the First Amendment. It's time to limit the First Amendment, but it's time to limit the First Amendment, but it's time to limit the First Amendment.
So where's the outrage? Where's the outrage, right-wingers? Where's the outrage, free speech conservatives? Where's the outrage, First Amendment activists? Here's a foreigner in American media saying it's time to limit the First Amendment. Oh, see, they've intimidated you. They've intimidated you because if the person that says it is Jewish, you're not allowed to criticize, because if you do criticize, you're an anti-Semite. And if you're an anti-Semite, you will be punished financially. And if you're an anti-Semite, we will stick our members of the media, our hound dogs on you, whoever we can, to destroy your life. So if a Jew goes on American media and says it's time to limit the First Amendment, you better not say anything, dirty American, or you're an anti-Semite. Where's the outrage? This is unreal that we have people going on CNBC saying it's time to limit the First Amendment. If this doesn't outrage you, how is this not an international outrage? It's like, where is the soul of America? Where is the soul? Where is the spirit? We just bombed a school in Iran. Nah, don't care. You've got a foreigner going on American media saying it's time to limit the First Amendment. Are you kidding me? You've got the lieutenant governor of Texas saying if you're disloyal to Israel, we will cost you billions of dollars. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And you wonder why young Americans are sick of this. You wonder why young Americans are out of whatever MAGA is now. You have turned your back on us. You've turned your back on common decency, basic morals, the First Amendment, and now even campaign promises. And you're shocked. Oh, gee, we're losing young American voters. Oh, gee, I don't understand why people are turning on Trump. No. You guys turned on us. You guys abandoned us. The spirit of America is no longer with MAGA. The soul of America has been drained by MAGA. I'm outraged. I don't care where they're from. I don't care if it's Sebastian Gorka. When I see foreigners limiting my free speech, when I see foreigners suggesting that we need to limit free speech, I am outraged as an American, as should every red-blooded American be. But we all know why they're doing it. We all know why. We all know why Shlomo Kramer goes on American media and says we have to limit the First Amendment, because the number one issue that people are talking about right now is Israel's influence over the United States of America, Israel's blackmail over the United States of America, Israel's control over our foreign policy that costs us trillions of dollars, our blood and treasure in the Middle East. It's the number one thing being talked about on the internet. And so what do the Israelis do? They say, we have to limit your speech. We have to buy all the different social media outlets. We have to get control over as much of the media as we possibly can, because we can't have you saying anything negative about Israel. And then your own government comes out and tells you that that is illegal to be disloyal to Israel. So it becomes the number one talked about thing on social media. So they say, we have to censor your free speech. Oh, it doesn't work. They're still talking freely. So now we just have to get rid of the First Amendment, and we have to write laws making anti-Semitism illegal, disloyalty to Israel illegal. And therefore that'll prove, obviously, that Israel has no influence over American policy. This is the insanity of the issue. This is why it's not going anywhere. This is why young Americans are pissed off. This is why MAGA is dead. And the evidence is all around you. And it will continue to be all around you. And we will continue to shove it in your face until you wake the fuck up. Excuse me. Meanwhile, Israel Knesset member Tvizi Sokot, we must conquer southern Lebanon, destroy all the villages, and annex the territory to the state of Lebanon as a security zone. You remember that's what the Nazis did? Yeah, the Nazis used to expand their territory because they would say, oh, well, you know, we need this land mass as a security border for Germany. So now Israel's doing the same thing. I can't. I mean, guys, it's just crazy. Who knows what history is? Who knows the truth about World War II? All right, I'm not going to do World War II history debate, but let's just take it at face value. An ethno-nationalist state hell-bent on expansion. That's the Nazis. All right, that's what we're told. Ethno-nationalists hell-bent on expansion. Is that not Israel today? And isn't it perfect irony? Isn't it like, of course, isn't it perfect irony that here's the only Jewish state with their permanent victimhood status because of the Holocaust. And now because of that, they're now acting like the Nazis. Now, because of that permanent victim status, as we're stuck in this post-World War II ideology, almost 100 years removed from it now, we're stuck in this post-World War II ideology. And here's the only Jewish state now acting like the very Nazis that were once oppressing them. And they say, never again, never again. And then it's literally Israel acting as the Nazis were acting. I mean, to a T. Ethno-nationalists, expansion, I mean, all of it. That'll really get them going. But of course, that's how it works. Of course, that's the pendulum of human and politics merging. Man, I've even got more of that. I don't know how much more we can do. Let's go to, we got some Epstein stuff. Let's go to James Comer naming some of the names of the Epstein co-conspirators.
First of all, Mr. Khan's answering every question thus far. He's completed 2 full hours of depositions. I would say we are possibly at the halfway point. It could last more than 4 hours, but he confirmed there were 5 clients that paid money to Epstein, and that was Les Wexner, Glenn Dubin, Stephen Sinofsky, the Rothschilds, and Leon Black. We've already deposed Wexner, and we're going to be deposing Leon Black very soon. First of all, Mr. Khan's answering.
Now, that Leon Black connection is going to be quite a web, folks. The Leon Black connection. What is his real name? That's not even his real name. He changed his name, kind of like Benjamin Milikowski. What is Leon Black's real name? It might even literally be Blackowitz. Anyway, he changed his name. The Leon Black connections are going to be they're going to be bad. They're going to be bad. And the same question is going to emerge. The same question is going to emerge when they go down the list of the Epstein co-conspirators and none of them get arrested. None of them. And that's been the trend, and that's where we're at today. Comer also went on Fox News and said something interesting about the federal investigation into Epstein's New Mexico Zorro Ranch.
Sounds pretty sick if what's been said about it's true. What are you hearing?
Well, I'm glad that the New Mexico authorities are going there and searching that property. I know that if no one searches the property, whenever this investigation is finally concluded, people are always going to have questions about whether or not there were deaths there, whether or not there were mysterious surgeries and things like that happening on the ranch. I don't know, but I do know this. The federal government asked New Mexico to stop their investigation, I believe back in 2019.
Did you hear that? Wait, what?
Asked New Mexico whether or not there were mysterious surgeries and things like that happening on the ranch. I don't know, but I do know this. The federal government asked New Mexico to stop their investigation. No, but I do know this. The federal government asked New Mexico to stop their investigation.
Why would the federal government step in and have New Mexico stop the investigation of Epstein's Zorro Ranch right after he died? Why would they do that?
Believe back in 2019 of that ranch. So there's just so many questions about how the government failed the victims.
And that was Trump's government, by the way.
And how government failed in trying to prosecute Epstein sooner. I mean, this whole thing doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. Epstein was an intelligence asset, and Epstein was blackmailing dozens, hundreds of people with the most power and influence in the world. And he was working in lockstep, at least at one point in time, with intelligence agencies, America, Israel. At one point, he might have even been above them, quite frankly. He might have even worked his way above them and then been the go-between between the true shadow government that's above it all and then the corrupt government. But the whole thing was a cover-up. The whole thing was a cover-up, and it still is a cover-up. And it's funny, here's James Comer, and I don't have any issues with James Comer, but it's just like, is he playing dumb here? It's like, the whole thing is weird. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because it was corrupt. Because he was running a blackmail operation for our number one ally. Because he compromised who knows how many politicians and celebrities and bankers and all the rest. So yeah, they're covering the whole thing up. It's one of the biggest corruption stories in the history of our country, in modern world history, and they're covering it up. That's why it doesn't make any sense, James. Come on, man. Oh, boy. And, of course, you had the Alexander brothers were all up and down the Epstein files. The Israeli real estate brokers connected to Jared Kushner and others in New York. They were all over the Epstein files. They just got convicted. Here's a short breakdown of their little story here.
3 wealthy brothers, including 2 of New York's top real estate brokers, were found guilty of sex trafficking charges on Monday. Oren, Tal, and Elon Alexander all faced allegations they lured women and girls to exclusive parties where they drugged and raped them. The brothers had each pleaded not guilty to all charges in an indictment alleging trafficking and other criminal conduct related to 7 victims. Over the course of a 6-week trial in Manhattan federal court, 11 women testified that one or more of the brothers sexually abused them. In his closing argument on March 3rd, prosecutor Andrew Jones said the brothers masqueraded as party boys, but really were predators. Defense lawyers acknowledged that the brothers had discussed sex among themselves in crass terms. However, they argued the sexual encounters at issue were consensual. Oren and Tal Alexander co-founded the luxury real estate brokerage Official, while brother Elon was an executive at a private security company. An attorney for Elon Alexander said they disagreed with the jury's verdict and planned to appeal. Attorneys for Oren and Tal did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
So these connected, powerful Israeli brothers, sex trafficking, some of the worst stuff in the Epstein files, and barely even a peep in the media. Barely even a peep. Well, the good news for them is they're not Muslim. Because if they were Muslim, the media would be making sure that you know it. But since they're not, we're just gonna mostly keep that one silent. More bad news here out of the Hegseth camp. Pentagon bars press photographers over unflattering Hegseth photos. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's staff took issue with images taken in a rare briefing last week and decided to shut out photographers from 2 subsequent news conferences. So you're not allowed to take pictures of them. Now I think the whole bench pressing thing was fake. This whole administration is just falling apart at the seams, man. They're just becoming so untrustworthy. I can't even believe it. You saw members of the Trump administration. Many of them live on military bases. Many of them are buying nuclear fallout bunkers. Pam Bondi is the latest. Pam Bondi is said to move to military housing because of threats. The attorney general relocated from a Washington apartment to a base in the area within the past month. So they're all getting nuclear bunkers. They're all moving to military bases. I'm sure it's no big deal. I'm sure it's all fine and good. Former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz moves to Florida from Washington State. Schultz's Florida move comes weeks after Starbucks announces Nashville office amid Washington's push for millionaires tax. So all of these Democrats, Starbucks, big lib, Howard Schultz, big lib, big Dem, they always vote and then they flee their own policies. They always turn these states deep blue, and then they always leave the states that they turn deep blue. Starbucks out, going to Nashville. Schultz out, going to Florida. They always do this. These liberals always do this. They use their money and influence to turn these states blue, and then they leave because they don't like the results. Yet another one. How about all this fraud we're discovering? She charged $29 million to treat just 84 kids. The boom in autism therapy is Medicaid's fastest growing jackpot. $29 million to treat 84 kids. A crazy story here in the Wall Street Journal. This is a nice vaccine side effect market. The boom in autism therapy is Medicaid's fastest growing jackpot. Some companies have found lucrative opportunities to capitalize on a growing need, billing long hours and extracting payments as high as $800 an hour. Now, I will also tell you, there's kind of another angle to this, and I don't know if it plays in here, but there's another angle here, which is, you see and hear about a lot of men, divorce court, payments to mothers, all this stuff. And what comes into these issues, if you have a special needs kid, now most of the time the court will make the father pay for these special needs kids, and there's no other way around it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take that advantage of that system and they just have the court that mandates they pay these things, and then they can just charge whatever you want. And there's no way out of it. So just more corruption, more fraud. Oh boy. California hospice fraud. We'll play a brief of this report. There's a stretch in Los Angeles with 500 registered hospice companies within just 3 miles of each other and 89 in a single building. But when we visited, we found empty offices, piled up mail, and phone lines dead. Look at this fraud in California.
The government thinks this woman is dying in hospice care, but she just humiliated me, schooled me on the pickleball court. She's definitely not dying. She is a victim, though, of hospice fraud. So hospice fraud costs taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars every year. And California is ground zero. So basically, people steal Medicare numbers, they enroll them in hospices, and then bill for tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. A lot of these companies are just fronts. So over 700 of the roughly 1,800 hospices in LA County trigger multiple red flags for possible.
Now, why isn't this getting more attention? This guy just busted a massive hospice fraud operation in California. Just busted it wide open. Where are the arrests? Where are the charges? Total shell companies, total fraud. Where's the viral videos? Where's the bringing him up to testify in front of Congress? Where's the putting him in front of all of the media outlets? Here's another one. Same story. From Christian Hartstock on X. He shows it. He goes door to door, and he shows exactly what was just from that CBS report.
Printed sign closed for lunch. We will return shortly. It seems to be a pretty permanent looking, it's not just a sticky note. It does not seem like a temporary tag you just put on a door to say out to lunch. It says out to lunch. Okay. Well, I take it that they are still out to lunch. Maybe they're all out to lunch together. Great Life Hospice. Okay. Is it a whole lunch outing amongst healthcare competitors? Hi.
No, this is not hospice. I don't.
This is not hospice? Okay, well, what kind of health do you provide here?
I'm sorry, you can't come.
But it says 9 to 5. Hello? It's open, so let's go on. I'm documenting this for my grandma because I'm trying to enroll her in healthcare. Oh, I'm not soliciting. I'm so convenient. Every possible healthcare need you could possibly need all in one building on one floor. Hi, could you help me with something? I'm trying so hard to get her some healthcare and no one will talk to me in this building.
In one of the buildings was an auto body repair shop. Now, I'd never seen an auto body repair shop on the second floor of an office building, so I decided to knock on the door and see what they thought of the dozens of hospice offices surrounding theirs. But when I started asking the guy questions, it escalated pretty quickly.
Why are you taking picture? Why are you asking some questions?
Because I'm curious what's going on. There's so many healthcare offices here and hospice offices.
Did you see any healthcare offices?
Yes, yeah, I see dozens.
Here
Have I
is-
done anything
No,
illegal?
no, hold on. Here we are.
911 for the city of Los Angeles.
I don't know who you
You're
are.
calling. So
Who you are?
you're calling the police.
Yes.
So
Yes, ma'am. Some person coming to building and he asking some questions, who you are, why you are here, you know, what kind of business you're doing. I want to know who is this person.
Let me get you a real police operator. Hold on.
Yes, please.
you could have just asked me to leave. You're threatening to assault me while you have the police on. Now you are assaulting.
Oh, hold on.
Now you are
Why
assaulting.
you taking my picture? You know, why you come in my street?
You should not have the police on the line while you're assaulting me. Well, that was very interesting. The only responsive business, at least, was that gentleman who got all up in my face for recording.
So again, that's Christian Hartstock there. I wonder if that's
Printed sign closed for lunch. We will.
It said California Courier in the bottom. I don't know if that's who he's still with. Says he's with Tabs Report. Looks like he does some OAN content and some Project Veritas stuff for it. You know, I might even have talked to Christian before. Now that I think about it, I think I've actually talked to him a couple times. I'm sorry, Christian. I talk to so many damn people in this political world. Sometimes I just forget. Yeah, I do believe we've talked, actually. He's broken some other stories even on shows of mine. So there you go. So this is massive. I mean, he just caught them. I mean, this is outrageous. Not just a shell company, a shell building full of companies. And then whatever that deal is he had at the end, that's probably the guy running the money. But who knows? Nobody's investigating. Where's the viral nature for this report? Don't worry. We can't hone in on all the fraud because it's not in Israel's interest. Don't you get it? Don't you get it, you stupid goy? Don't you get it, you dirty American? We can't do anything about your country. We have to do Israel's bidding first and foremost. Pope Leo ousts bishop accused of stealing $270,000 and then forces out the cardinal who tried to shield him. Bishop Emmanuel Shaleta was arrested, fleeing the country with cash in his luggage. Cardinal Louis Sacco is gone too, and the timing is not a coincidence. I like Pope Leo. I got to say, I like it. I like what I'm seeing. I like Pope Leo more than Trump at this point. I give Pope Leo a higher grade as Pope than I do Trump as president. How do you like that? Who saw that one coming? The Pope ridding out corruption in the Catholic Church. Good to see it. It's about damn time. Remember the Iran asylum soccer team story? Remember that deal? Well, this is getting more interesting. Soccer player granted asylum, changes mind, and goes back to Iran. And so this seems to be like one of those deals where it's like, hey, no, you need to get the asylum. You need to demonize Iran. And this player was like, no, I'm okay. And then they had this one on Fox News today. It was a long conversation. They said the women in Iran have zero rights, was the claim. Women in Iran have zero rights and they're forced to cover their bodies their entire lives. Folks, that's just an outright lie. Now, I'm not endorsing the Iranian government. I'm not endorsing the laws and restrictions that are on women in Iran. Let me be perfectly clear. If you're a woman, 100%, you probably would rather live in a country other than Iran. But to sit here and say that women have zero rights in Iran is just a bold-faced lie. To sit here and say that women have to cover their faces and hair and bodies 24/7, it's just a bold-faced lie. It's just a lie. So I'm not going to sit here and be lied to. And this is what they're doing to the right wing to try to keep you in support of these Israel wars in the Middle East. They're lying about Iran. Again, I'm not endorsing Iran's leadership. I'm not endorsing Iran's domestic policy. I'm not endorsing Iran's policy towards women. It's not what I'm doing. But they are lying to you. And it's all to keep you supporting Israel's wars in the Middle East and Israel's interest in the Middle East. So, yeah, they tried to bully the whole soccer team. And they were like, no, actually, I want to go back to Iran. It's funny how that works. And then, but some of them are going to stay in Australia. And then in Australia, you don't even have speech rights. 2 protesters charged on first day of Queensland from the river to the sea ban. So they've banned, quote, from the river to the sea. It's considered anti-Semitic. And now, I guess it was 1 girl, 1 boy. There's a boy featured here. I saw the girl got arrested too. They were charged because one of them said from the river to the sea. The other had a shirt that said from the river to the sea. So, we need asylum. We need asylum in Australia. It's so much more free than Iran, but you don't even have basic free speech in Australia. Isn't that ironic? All right. We're going to have to hold on to a couple things here. What do I want to do? We're going to have to go into some bonus time. Let me just hit some things here before we close out this third hour. And then we'll do bonus time for our super chats. Michael Schellenberger was recently on Rogan, and I don't want to play this whole thing, but Rogan was stunned at how he's basically, I don't know how else to say it, he's basically covering up for the Epstein files. Just listen to a brief exchange.
I, like a lot of other people, had assumed that someone murdered him. But you start looking at the evidence for that, look, maybe there more will come out. And even this last few days, there's some new things that people point to, but they actually are not actually evidence of it. They said,
So he believes Epstein killed himself. He goes on, says there's nothing in the Epstein files, all this stuff. And it's like Rogan is sitting there just stunned. Rogan is sitting there stunned as he's basically going with the mainstream narrative on Epstein. It's funny about Schellenberger. Schellenberger was like the one that was handpicked and selected, one of a couple that was handpicked and selected to break the social media censorship story and break, the FBI, the government, Biden administration, Democrats colluding with social media to censor people. Like he was the big one to break that, as if we didn't know that was going on. As if Alex Jones wasn't the story. It's like, I was there. We were there. We were at InfoWars. We were on the Alex Jones show. It was 2018, and that was their big first test of social media censorship. And they wiped Alex out, and they wiped me out. We were there. That was our story. And then, 8 years later, they give it to Schellenberger, and he's breaking it. And he's going on all the big mainstream news networks, and he's testifying in front of Congress. Never been a victim of it. 8 years late to the party, but somehow he breaks the big story about social media censorship and not the real person number one, not the real victim number one, Alex Jones. Not the real free speech prisoner, Owen Schroyer. No, not the person who they actually wiped out from social media, Alex Jones. Not the person they actually put in prison for speech, Owen Schroyer. No, they give you Michael Schellenberger, and now he's got the big profile off of this. And now he's on Joe Rogan saying, oh, nothing to see in the Epstein files. Yeah, he probably killed himself. Do I even have to say it? I don't even want to say it. But you can't help. How many of these people are just totally controlled? How many of these people are just totally astroturfed, totally controlled, totally fake, and they just decide who and why they just all of a sudden want to make them popular and give them the platform on a certain issue, and not the actual people that were part of the story or broke the story? Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's so, and then They act so stunned. When Schellenberger's breaking this story, oh my gosh. You know, the whatever it was, the social media files, whatever this rollout, this, you know, part 1, part 2 rollout, everything. It's like, oh my gosh, Schellenberger. Oh, he broke the story. Oh my gosh, look at this. He's got the exclusive. Oh. As if we hadn't been talking about it for 8 years. As if we didn't sit there and actually experience it for 8 years. It'd be like if you want to do like war coverage or something. It's like, oh, the battle of Austin. And then here's this unit that was actually in the battle. And here's the 15 people that survived the battle. It's like, here they are. They got their battle scars and they were in it. They were there. It's like, they could tell you the story. No, we're going to call Michael Schellenberger, who was in New York sipping lattes and didn't even cover it when it was happening. Let's give him the story. As you know, when the war was going on, Schellenberger didn't even cover it once. He wasn't there, but let's give him the story. How does that even happen? Like, that is so inorganic. It's ridiculous. But that's what you get. That's what you get. All right. Oh, boy. You know, I got this video here. I don't even know if I want to go there. Oh. All right. We'll go there. Let's just go ahead and go there. So there's this video that's going viral. It's so obnoxious. I really don't even want to bother with it, but it's basically, as the caption here reads, another day, another attention-seeking Trump supporter ruining everyone else's day. So it's basically this boomer guy. He's probably pretty intoxicated here. I don't think that that's a reach to conclude. And he's bragging about how he likes Trump and he's a boomer and all this stuff. Now, the reason why I bring this up today, because I think it's such an encapsulation moment to explain where the boomers are at today. And this is why this political fallout is happening. You have this class of boomers that have essentially their entire lives had everything, I guess, in their mind, kind of favoring them, slanted in their direction. And it's like, oh yes, now they're kind of like the wise ones. And now they've got the most experience, whatever. All of their people run the government, run everything. And so there's kind of this arrogance to it. There's kind of this entitlement to it. And it's like they see it like this is their final run. Like Trump is their final middle finger. It's like that's what it is. It's like the boomers they want to have this final middle finger. It's like Trump is their final middle finger to everyone. It's like, no, we still run things. We don't care about you. We hate political correctness. F you, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're pissing everyone off around them. Trump is their big final F you. They don't care what you think. They're the wise guys. They know better. They've seen it all. They understand it better than everybody else. And it's just like this video perfectly exemplifies that. It's like, yeah, here he is. He knows he's pissing everybody off, but he says, F you. Oh, I'm with Trump, all this stuff. And it's like this arrogance of this generation right now. It's like, yeah, they see that the policies they support aren't popular. They see that they're running into it with the youth. They see that they're running into it and that they can't get it. Then they just don't care. They just say, F you, we're in charge. F you, Trump's in charge. We don't really care what you like, what you don't like. We're running things. We don't care about the results. So I don't know. You might say that's a generalization, but when I saw it, I couldn't help. I couldn't help it, but it's like, that's exactly what this is. It's like Trump is the boomer's last gasp. And then it's like, you see it now. It's like you see it from this generation just giving the rest of America the middle finger. It's like, hey, we're kind of sick of doing Israel's bidding. F you. We like war. It's like, hey, I don't want to get involved in the Middle East again. F you. 47 years. They said death to America. F you. It's like, hey, we're kind of in a lot of debt. This Trump thing went the wrong direction. I didn't vote for this. F you. F you. It's just like, this is the boomers' last gasp. It's their last hurrah. And so they're just waving the middle finger out the air, out the window, as it's all happening. Yeah. I was debating even wanting to do that, but I couldn't help it. I saw that, and that's just what I thought. That's just what it represented to me. Yeah, no blanket statements. I know there's plenty of people of that age in this audience. No blanket statements. But I think we understand what I'm saying. Now, do I want to go into this one? Do I want to even go into this one? Did you guys see? This is this video went viral. You've got this Jewish man on a cruise, and he sees a guy with a Nazi tattoo. Okay? I guess we'll just do that. We'll just introduce it as that, and we'll let the video speak for itself. So, Jewish guy, we got a couple of these videos. Jewish guy on a cruise, sees a guy with a swastika tattoo, and here you go.
I'm a Jew. That is so offensive.
This guy's mad because this guy has Hitler tattoos. And this guy's a Jew, it looks like, and he's really angry.
So now he's got security. So if you're listening, first he goes over to this guy who's just sitting in a lawn chair, sitting in a pool chair with his friend. And he goes over there and he assaults him. So first he assaults him. And now he's screaming and yelling. Now he has security.
I'm a Jew.
So now he charges at him and assaults him again.
That is so offensive. Put that goddamn shirt on before I get security up here.
If security needs to be called, it's on you, buddy.
I'm a Jew. That is so offensive. I'm a Jew.
Now look, you hate to take a video and try to encapsulate an issue from a video, but I think it works here, guys. This is the current mindset. And it's not all Jews, obviously. It's not all Jews, right? Okay. It's not all boomers. It's not all Jews. All right. Get that out of the way. But let's be honest. This is the mindset right now. And it's the permanent victim mindset. It's the permanent victim status that gives them this entitlement. And this is where woke comes from, by the way. This is like the original woke, quite frankly. It's like, oh, I'm the biggest victim ever, so I need the most sympathy. I need the most help. I need the most grace. I need to be able to do anything I want. I'm the biggest victim. So this mindset now is multiple generations in. And so this guy thinks, oh, because I'm a Jew, I can assault you. And that's literally what he does. He says, I'm a Jew, and then assaults him and walks away. Now, look, we can sit here and talk about the guy's tattoos and say, okay, a swastika tattoo might offend somebody. Or you can be like the majority of people that see it and just walk by and choose to be either not offended or not respond or whatever. Just walk by and say, oh, wow, that's gross, and then leave. So that's what it is. This is the permanent victim mindset. And the reason why they love the permanent victim mindset is because they believe it gives them the superiority in any circumstance to say, I'm the biggest victim, therefore I naturally have the moral high ground and the social high ground, and therefore I'm entitled to whatever I want. And he literally walks over there and assaults him and says, I'm a Jew. So what? So you can rape someone and say, I'm a Jew? You can assault someone and say, I'm a Jew? You can bomb an entire country and say, I'm a Jew? That's the mindset. That's where we're at. Do you understand? This is a psychological phenomenon. And look, they've been just as brainwashed as anyone else. They just so happen to be on top of the brainwashing totem pole. The brainwashing just happens to favor them, so they love it. But that's what this is. That's the superiority complex. And he thinks there's nothing wrong with it. He thinks he gets to run the show. He thinks he's in charge. He thinks he's more important than anyone else on that boat. He's the only one that matters because he's Jewish. And so he can walk up and assault this guy and say, oh, I'm Jewish, and I'm calling security on you. I mean, it's living the meme. But there's a psychological aspect to this. This isn't just about the actions that take place. It's the psychological aspect of this. And it's how it's playing out on a cruise liner and on war and foreign policy. Hey, Israel gets to do whatever the hell they want. They're the biggest victims in the world. They can do whatever the hell they want. They're the biggest victims. And then, oh, you dare question it? Then what do they do? Then they throw theology at you. So if you don't blink at the historical Holocaust, if you don't blink at the historical Holocaust survivor, if that doesn't make you blink, then they throw the theology at you and they say God's chosen people, Christian Zionist, Judeo-Christian, greatest ally. They try the political thing. So first they throw the history thing at you. You don't blink. Then they throw the theology thing at you. You don't blink. Then they throw the history thing at you. You don't blink. And then they assault you and they say, well, I'm the victim. I mean, that's what plays out here in this video. It's insane to watch it. Do you want to see the rest of the videos? There's more. There's more. Let's see what else. Let's see what else happens here.
Do something, please call.
Oh, he's begging.
Yeah. Do something, please call. Yeah.
So a guy is just sitting on a chair. And he starts freaking out. He starts panicking and says, call security, because he's offended.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I want him out of my sight.
Listen to that entitlement.
Do something, please call. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I want him out of my sight. That guy is not welcome on this.
You're not welcome. Get the fuck off. You're the one attacking people.
You okay? I'll get myself in trouble. Look at these guys smiling. You think it's fucking
I think it's funny. You think
it's fucking
I think it's very funny.
huh?
I do.
What up?
What are you going to do?
Oh. Jail, I'm yelling.
They're giving out free.
That guy is not welcome on this.
You're not welcome. Get the fuck off. You're the one attacking.
This is how the whole geopolitical situation is about to turn out, guys. Call me crazy. Tell me I'm reaching. I'll accept it. But I'm telling you right now, both of those videos, but specifically that last one, this is how the entire geopolitical situation is about to turn out. Whether it's Netanyahu, whether it's Mark Levin, whether it's the far-right members of the Knesset, whatever it is, this is what it is. This is their established permanent victim status that they believe gives them the social and moral high ground no matter what they do. And the more they try to claim that, while indifferent people or uninterested people are lying around, the more they try to claim that, and then they start assaulting this guy, and they start assaulting that guy, and then they start screaming louder and playing the victim louder, and everybody's like, hey, you're the asshole here. It's exactly what Israel is doing. It's like, oh, most people are just minding their own business. All right, Israel's doing some stuff over here. Okay, people minding their own business. Now Israel's over in this person's business. Hey, what are you doing over here? And now they're just freaking out, bombing everybody, running all the media, trying to do everything, and then claiming they're the biggest victims in all the entire process. And everybody's like, okay, this is getting outrageous. This is getting outrageous. All right. Can't wait to see the response to that segment. That'll be fun. All right. One more thing here, and then we'll do bonus for the super chats. Would you... It's a stupid tattoo. Oh, so there's this big controversy.
You got
where the United States of America lost to Italy in the World Baseball Classic, and then they're basically Mark DeRosa is the manager, and he's claiming that nobody knew that they had to win that game last night against Italy to advance, and so they kind of went with a softer roster. And so people are like, well, you know, how could America lose to Italy? And then how could they not even know that it was a must-win game to advance? Well, this is the truth. The World Baseball Classic is a farce. It's a farce. And that moment is kind of the moment showing what a farce it is, at least in America, because the Americans don't even care enough to understand how the system works. They literally don't even care enough about the tournament to even care or know how the system works. So they drop a game to Italy, and then it's like, oh, we needed to win that game? Oh, gee, didn't know that. And how do we lose to Italy? Okay, well, then here's your other aspect of how it's a farce. Italy, the Netherlands, Israel, all of these different countries, virtually their entire roster is American. They're not Italian. They're not Israeli. They're not Dutch. The Italian roster had, I think, 3 players born in Italy, 2 players born in Venezuela, and the rest born in America. It's like every roster. If you go look at the Dutch roster, it's all like Central Americans. There's like 1 person born in the Netherlands. I think on the Israeli team, there's 5 Israelis. The rest are American. So the whole thing is just a farce. Nice idea, nice concept, but it's just a total farce. Now, I will say, the teams that come from Asia, they seem to care a lot about it. They're selling out games, and they're actually all born in the countries they play for. For the most part, same with the Central American teams, but even a lot of the Central American teams have American-born players, but they just feel more connection, I guess, to the Central American countries they come from. But the truth is, what the MLB did is they just called all of these players and they just said, look, we need to make these games competitive. If anybody can find lineage tracing back to these countries, then we'll just put you on the rosters and we'll just say that you're from these countries. So the whole thing is a farce. Now, having said that, still hope Team USA wins.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right. That's good. All right, we go into bonus time here. Got through the content. Took us all of 3 hours, so we have to go to our super chats a little into bonus time here. And we got a ton of super chats. My goodness. This could be a while. So let's go into the super chats. Jennifer K. This podcast is safe and effective. I don't know how safe it is. This show is not for the faint of heart. It is effective. Fight Sports Talk. I can't find your email, so I DM'd you on Instagram. Do I have an Instagram? I will debate you on being bought by Putin and Dugin. You should be the anti-war, but pretend Iran is not the biggest threat behind China and Russia is disinfo. You'll debate me. I'm sure you would love to debate me, like so many others in media. But you can send whatever comments you want via super chat, and I will read them. So you're going to. I don't know how you can say you're going to debate me of being bought and paid by Putin and Dugin. I don't know how you debate that. That's a claim that I will deny, and I'll give you the same offer that I give everybody else that makes these ludicrous claims. I will allow you access into all of my bank accounts, all of my financial statements, tax returns, whatever you want. I'll give you full access, And I will bet you every dollar I have that you will find no connection to Putin or Dugin. And all I ask in return is that you put half of your money down. So if you're so confident, I don't even know if I have an Instagram. I don't know if that's even me. I don't know. Maybe my social media girl started one or something. I don't know. But I will make that offer for you. All you got to do is put half of your money on the line. It's a very great offer if you're so confident. So there you go. We'll see if you come back. Wolf Krieger, Trump has lost control over the timing and conditions of an end to hostilities. Forcing a ceasefire means either defeating the enemy or his agreement. What if Iran won't stop and can't be stopped? Well, as I said, I don't think they've failed at every level of this. They're 0 for what? 3 now? So they were the nuclear site strikes failed. The attempt to do a color revolution with intelligence insurgencies failed. The attempt to kill everybody and then have the people of Iran take over, that failed. So I don't know what's next, but they've been unsuccessful. It was always about regime change, and it's not worked yet. Trump is like Shaggy. It wasn't me. That's a good one. 90s song. Woofy. Trump is busing people to his rally just like Kamala. He's turned into a complete clown show. Yes, they were busing people. That is true. Please, Owen Schroyer's wifey, please crash out today for me so I don't. I don't think we had any crash outs today. No crash outs. Sorry, babe. Dust Vault. The base is mad because of mass deportations that weren't even happening to begin with. So I guess you could say Republicans fell for fake news. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. DST sucks. Fishback. Well, you see they're going after Fishback now. Nephilim Death Squad. That's because Owen studied under the great Alex Jones. Irons sharpens iron. I did. That's right. Thank you. Stay unplugged. I've watched you since I was 10. So proud, man. Well, you're a young man or young girl since you were 10. You were interested in politics at a lot younger age than I was. So good for you. Ken Rose, thank you. Captain Ard, remember Randy Fine post? And he slept good knowing kids in Gaza were getting blown up. He has that blood libel. That's not Western civilization. He's a monster. That guy is just an absolute monster. He's also a bad person. Dismissing the bombing of the schoolgirls in Iran feels like Jeffrey Epstein's whoops emails. Casual cruelty towards real suffering. It's sick. Yeah, whoops, all right. DZ, school bomb fall under the law of armed conflict. Laws don't apply to this war, as you can see. So laws don't apply whenever you're doing Israel's bidding, as you can see. Brother fly lineage, even YN's no children is hands off. Seems one country doesn't seem to be bothered by that. Jennifer K., our country is not accepting Israeli mindsets. Our country is being infiltrated. No more dual citizenship in Congress. No more AIPAC donations. Tim Dillon, friend of the show. Never talked to Tim, so I can't say that. Who would have thought that within little over a year, MAGA would become a complete joke and the League of Conservative Tards and Israeli Cultists reemerges? God bless America. Well, sir, I didn't see it coming. I'll give you that. Didn't see that one coming. I mean, really, the only person that seems to have predicted that one to a T would have been Fuentes. I don't think anyone else really had that one down to a very fine degree other than Fuentes, I think. I don't think anybody can make that call. War with Iran, backtracking on LGBTQ+, backtracking mass deportations, campaigning against Massey. Imagine paying someone for that advice. Imagine thinking that's MAGA. Imagine still believing that crap. Trump shouldn't be in Kentucky campaigning against Massey. He should be on Capitol Hill pushing Thune to pass the SAVE Act, but they can't even get that done. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Want to go to war? Don't need Congress. Don't need any help. Need massive funds for war, foreign interests, foreign aid? No problem at all. Need to help America? All of a sudden, they can't do it. All of a sudden, it just can't happen. He's got to give up the never seen anything like it. Well, he can't help it. That's part of his shtick. Everything he does is the greatest of all time. The real Family Guy. Remember when Trump said, if I'm elected, we will go to war with Iran? Oh, right. That was Hillary. Hillary, Trump, doesn't seem to be much of a difference now. They're all friends now. Now Hillary's MAGA. Did you see that? Hillary's MAGA now. Net new. I miss hearing your Trump impersonation. Well, it'll come back. It'll be back. Just got my Tucker neocons are gay hat today. He's selling some funny stuff. Old Tucker. Bring back Shalom Schroyer. He's the real star. People want my Trump impression. They want Rabbi Schroyerstein. House effectively kills Mace push to release sexual misconduct reports. All the Congress that paid off victims won't release the files. Vote them out. Yep. A vast majority, by the way. Gigi is Argentina/Italian, like Brianna Morello. Sure about Brianna? I don't know about Gigi. You sure about Brianna? I spam Brianna's X account with Argentina, Italy flags. I don't think Brianna's Argentina. No. Redfin Pike. How do we know when our government has betrayed us enough to justify constitutionally and kinetically yeeting it? Whoa. Don't get me in trouble here. You do have a constitutional duty that when your government, I forget the exact verbiage, but yeah, when you have a corrupt government, we are supposed to, is it overthrow? I don't know the exact language in the Constitution, but that's the direction. Iran already said they're not stopping until they get an intentional treaty with Russia backing, because every time we're in peace talks, we go behind their back and allow Israel to attack them. I think the whole world has lost their trust and faith in Donald Trump, to be honest. I think this Trump administration has set us back 20 years on foreign policy and foreign relations. The first Trump administration built up a lot of trust and a lot of good faith, only for Trump to completely spoil it all in the second administration. And I think he set us back decades on foreign relations. That's how bad this deal is. David Hall, boomers are not very smart. Well, I didn't say that. We have to respect our elders and their wisdom, but there does seem to be a disconnect politically. Pittsburgh bad. Iran has been working on weapons of mass destruction for 47 years. Trump's the 47th president. It only makes sense for a war. Oh, boy. MS Downs. It's better than MS or M Snow, MS Now, MS Down. You got me with that one. Kai Bucky, have you seen the latest with Joe Rogan? MAGA saying the same thing. Stay in your lane. They must have gotten the script. Rogan is talking about how MAGA's been betrayed. Rogan is pushing back against the MAGA cult. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't really follow that show much. I saw some of the Schellenberger slop. But from what I've seen, it seems like Rogan's pushing back on the MAGA cult and how Trump has betrayed everybody. That's what I've seen. Owen Jones Schroyer, it's crazy how MAGA went from capturing the youth to only boomers left, almost exclusively. Popo246, spoke to 50-plus-year-old guy, ex-military intel, thinks Iran believes Antichrist return plus would use nukes. Didn't care that Texas gas prices went up $1, short-term pain. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of all of that going around. That's what they're telling the military. That's what they're telling Americans. Outrageous bet Trump will get MAGA to say nuke good. I don't think that's an outrageous bet at all. I'd say there's decent odds on that. Gas was the one thing that was actually way down in the past year. Well, the drop in gas prices since Biden left have now all gone back. So all the saving money on gas is all right back to the Biden when he left the White House. We'll see where it all goes. Doodling Gartman. Aren't the Israeli elections also a time limit? Netanyahu is still not pardoned. Just today, Israel's Justice Ministry refused giving a recommendation for pardon, all up to Herzog now. Yeah, well, it's a good point to bring up. I probably talk about it more than anybody else in the media, that not everybody in Israel likes Netanyahu. There's Netanyahu protests all the time. There's debates in the Knesset all the time. So it's not like it's, there's this idea that somehow Netanyahu is, popular amongst all in Israel, and he just walks on, clouds over there. And no, that's not the case at all. And that's why Trump is begging for the pardon. So, I guess the question is, what role does that play in this foreign policy? What role does the fact that Netanyahu is considered a war criminal in his own country and by the ICC, and now he could potentially lose an election? I don't know. Do you think Israelis are going to want to go vote for Netanyahu if they're in the bunker every 6 months and when they emerge, their cities are blown up? I don't know if people will be willing to go vote for Netanyahu if that happens again. But if people are stuck in bunkers and can't vote, then I guess it doesn't matter. So I do think that plays a role. I'm not sure exactly the direction that role goes, but I think it does play a role. He could just pull a Zelensky and just refuse to have an election and just say, I'm a wartime leader now. But that's a good point. Maybe Global Homo is mad. They call it the Strait of Hormuz. I've seen that one before. I've seen that. DMT was on Joel Webbin. Win Schroyer. Yeah, producer DMT did make a Joel Webbin appearance. He's been doing a little more media lately. Old DMT. I think Webbin did invite me, and I just couldn't make it. I've said this before. I'm just to the point now where it's like, I will do other shows when there's a big thing breaking. So like the Iran war or something like that. When there's a big thing breaking, then I'll go on the other shows when it's like a big news story, a big development like that. But I'm to the point now where my whole focus, my whole effort, everything, all the energy goes towards this 3 hours. So I get all kinds of different invites to go here, go there, do this show, do that show. And I just learned that it takes away my focus from this 3 hours. It takes away my focus and ability to do the best show I can here. So I turn it down a lot. And there's also the angle of, and this one doesn't really impact me enough to stop me from going anywhere, but it's just like, whenever you do other shows or have other guests, it's like, it always somehow causes unnecessary drama. It always adds baggage that's unnecessary. And so I just try to avoid that. I guess you could say I'm an isolationist in that regard, but it's more just, I've learned over time that if I want to get the best out of a 3 hour show, or like today we do bonus time, if I want to get the most out of my show, then I only need to do my show. And there's certain benefits to going and doing other shows and traveling and all this stuff, but it's almost like I'm almost to the point where it's almost neutral. It's almost neutral because then there's other drama that comes with it. And then there's other commentary that follows it. So we try to do it all, but the main focus is just the Owen Report. I forget what it was with Webbin, though. I think I just had something else. I couldn't make it. I miss the old Owen angry rants from the war room. Every once in a while we do them here, Michael. They're not totally gone. They happen here. You just got to watch every second of every show. Don't talk about Biden checking his watch ever again. Well, I don't know if that's fair. Don't want Minesweeper thwarting Israeli false flag. Whoa. I used to play that game, Minesweeper, on the computer. Remember that one? Did all the other admins wait until the weekend too? Not like this administration. Not like 100% hit rate as it is with Trump. But yeah, even in other administrations, that would be a pattern. But this is like 100% pattern. The others, it was, probably above 50%, but not like this. Trump has massive derangement disorder. You got me a couple times today. If I was in a coma and had just woken up today, I would have sworn Biden was in charge of the war operation disaster. Shot through the heart of the Trump voters, and Trump's to blame. War gives him a bad name. Oh my gosh. This is a brilliant idea for a skit. I should pretend I'm just waking out of a coma from like 2018. The doctor's like, Mr. Schroyer, you've just woken up from a coma. You've been out for 8 years. It's March 2026 now. Oh, doctor. Oh. And then like my wife comes in or something. I'm like, oh, how's Trump doing? How's MAGA? Did we drain the swamp yet? Are there any deep state arrests? Are the indictments coming? No, honey, there's been no deep state arrests. Actually, they stole an election and invaded our country and no one was arrested. What? But Trump's going to do something about it, right? Well, actually, no, they're against mass deportations now. They're not going to be doing any mass deportations. Oh, my gosh. But what about the Epstein files? Well, Trump actually said it's a hoax. The Epstein files are actually a hoax now. Oh, my gosh. Oh, MAGA must be so upset. MAGA must be heartbroken. Actually, the MAGA cultists are more dug in than ever, actually. Oh, well. At least there's no new wars, right? At least we're not at war. Oh, actually, we are at war. Yeah, a lot of new wars, actually. A lot of them, yeah. Oh, well, at least we got the debt under control, right? No, actually, we have more debt than ever. But the spending is down. No, the spending is higher than ever. All right, there, I just ran through it there. Hire a studio, produce that one. Tech Demons got my Twitter account. Sorry. What'd you do? Does your neighbor know you podcasting from their garage? They have no idea. They don't even know. They don't even know where the studio popped up in their garage. It just showed up one day. No, you. Dan Patrick is a traitor. We need to actually start holding these people accountable. That's disgusting. That just pissed me off. Well, that's a normal response to a traitor. Robert, Israel's top exports, bribery and blackmail. Do we have the numbers on that? Clearly, Dan Patrick is trying to foment a revolution. You are on one today. How is it not illegal to be a dual citizen? It's not yet. The boomers' last gasp. Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. Fun fact, Texas denied hurricane relief funds if you didn't support Israel. I just can't believe it's just the money. They have to be blackmailed. Yeah, that was a big story here. That's true. That did happen. They denied you hurricane relief if you didn't support Israel. That did happen. Tucker Carlson going to lose us the midterms. PFF, if you don't like Trump using the thermonuclear weapon on Iran, then you're anti-Semitic. Hey, come on. Don't give him that idea. Now they're going to say that. Shlomo, I'm more of a medium pace guy. Hit the like button. 100% truthful rant. Was that about 5:30? What was I ranting about at 5:30? Gigi loves Owen. Tay joined Wifey and Gigi's alliance. You next? What's the alliance? Hope it works in my favor. Aristotle, you should have Jay Dyer on. Does geopolitics. Yeah, we sometimes tag team on X, Jay and I. They call us panicans for worrying about World War III as they move to military bases and build nuclear bunkers. Dustfault is hitting home run after home run today. Exactly. Oh, we're panicans over a war. They're literally moving on to military bases and building nuclear bunkers. Unbelievably well put. That's exactly it. The hypocrisy is unreal. Justine B. I absolutely loathe our government. We are being ruled by a satanic mafia. I can't believe the people still supporting Trumpstein and his administration. By the way, that name Trumpstein. Well, I don't want to even tease it. Trumpstein. Is it Trumpstein? Is it Trumpelstein? I might be circling back on that one soon. What about Iran war fraud? How's that not theft? And how do they just let this Ukraine fraud, this Ukraine war money laundering operation, weapons laundering operation go away? Thoughts on the Jake Lang text screenshots? Oh, God. Oh, man. You see what I'm talking about? This is why I'm an isolationist now. And I want to get along with everybody. I'm a happy guy. I love life. I can get along with anybody and everybody. But you see why in political media, I'm just like, my instincts are now just full on isolationist. Good Lord. Oh my gosh. What are we doing, guys? Shirley Maldo. Subscribe, like, and share, and hype show 50K plus subs. Yes, guys, please. Thank you. We're up over 50 now. We wanted to be over 50K on YouTube by the end of March. We've already crossed that threshold. It means a lot. Help us build the channel. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble. Follow me on X. Helps us build the show. Really means a lot. Thank you. Oh, boomers just want to have fun. They just want to. I'm not going to sing it. I know you wanted me to. I'm not going to do it. Alex got mittens. Jimmy did to Alex what Nick did to Piers. You know, I saw after I did the Jimmy Dore interview, I saw apparently Nick had some issue with him. And then I saw, I guess Alex went on his show afterwards. I don't know about, you know, the Nick and the Piers thing. It seems like what happens. I could be wrong because I'm not claiming to have all the background knowledge. I just kind of get the aftermath, surface level stuff. But it seems like what happens is these people invite Nick on the show, and then somebody gets to them and says, you can't do that, and they back out. I mean, that seems to be the pattern. Are you saying that's what happened with Alex? Because, I mean, isn't that what Piers did? I don't know. It's hard to keep up with all that drama. Isolation. That's why I sit here in my neighbor's garage in between all the news. Is it me, or is video quality getting worse? You know what's funny? From Do It Again. You know what's funny? So I did some tampering in the studio, and then I did some tampering with my camera. And it's actually the craziest thing. So the 2-shot here, this, for whatever reason, I think right now, this is actually a better quality shot for the live video as opposed to this one. They're both the same camera. It's a really nice camera. It's the nice cameras that everybody uses. This one has like a basic lens that is basically an autofocus basic lens, cheap lens. This one has like the most expensive lens you can buy. It's like the most expensive lens. It's like thousands of dollars even. And I can't even get a high quality shot with this. Now, there's something that I need to do. I'm going to fix it. But what's funny is it seems that X has the highest video quality. For whatever reason, X has the least latency and the highest video quality of all three of the platforms that we stream on. So you're not crazy about the video quality. I jumbled with the camera a little bit. I rearranged some things in my studio. So I need to go back into the camera settings and fix a couple things. But it's crazy. And I guess maybe that's what comes with the expensive lens, where it's like, how is it that this is like the basic lens, like cheap lens, and it's giving me higher quality than the most expensive lens you can buy? I guess that's just how things work, isn't it? So I was actually trying to tinker with that today. And then I just ran up to time to start doing prep and just kind of left it as is. But that you're not crazy. I had to tinker with some things on the desk, and then I tinkered with the camera a little bit, and ultimately, yeah. I think it cost us a little bit of video quality. Jared Huss, Fuentes is right about everything. Everything. The human badass. You're the only news reporter that I trust. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me, really. I try to do that. I try to have the highest batting average. I try to just call it as I see it. I try to be really for everybody, left, right, middle, whatever, neutral, indifferent. I just try to bring you the news. And it's funny because it's like, nobody really anticipated that the right wing would become so propagandized and so cultish and everything that it's kind of changed how I originally interpreted the Owen report going, but you have to adapt, obviously. But I try to just be as informative and news-driven as possible. Steve B., America only. Been a Republican for 45 years, changed to independent. Trump and MAGA make me sick to my stomach. You're not alone. Free Isabella Ross. What happened to old Isabella? She get the ban hammer? What did she do? She's behaving naughty. Large and in charge, September 11th, and Ghislaine Maxwell. What are Arabs email forecasted all of this, trying to figure out where Shapiro's eyebrow expansions tie into everything. Shapiro's eyebrows, man. What is going on? They're the real Twin Towers now. Yeah, even 9/11 in the Epstein emails, even that thing looking to be an Epstein class job. Hot Wheels, the terrorists were never going to fund America. They were to prep for Iran. Well, I'm not sure how those two things are connected, but it looks like America paid the price, and now the corporations are going to get their double. They're going to get their money back. It was so random, I was mass reported. I behaved. What did you do? Look at this. This is inside propaganda. I've got inside propaganda. Who paid for this? The people want to see you and DMT do a deep dive on the Middle East on the show. This is gaslighting 101. This is DMT who has an open invitation gaslighting me on my own show with my own funds on my own account. See, I'll give him credit. DMT was off the MAGA. He was anti-Trump before I was, for sure. And we used to have debates about this, and it wasn't that I disagreed with the direction. It was like, we still got to get Trump in and at least take a shot. It was like, hey, we know what we're going to get with Kamala. We don't know what we're going to get with Trump. I guess people would say, see, we did know the whole time. And so, okay, that would be fair. But no, DMT was, he was anti-Trump before I jumped off the MAGA bandwagon. That is true. That is true. But I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to say that Kamala was a better option? I guess people might now. Thank you, Mego. Gabby's mom, thanks for the laughs. Yeah, we had some fun today. We had a little fun in the super chats today. MAGA man, Texas. A couple Jake Lang super chats today. April Fool's stream, decorate it like a garage. Or I could actually do it in the garage. Didn't they say there was some goofy thing going to happen on April 1st? I was like, this has to be an April Fool's joke. Yeah, it's coming up. There'll be some fools for sure. Do it again. Not you. I meant cell phone cameras. No disrespect. Oh, I don't know about that. But you know what? I'll comment on that too, because I've noticed the same thing. I see these videos and I know compression and everything, but it's like, I agree. You used to be able, because this is what I do for a living. I feel like you used to be able to upload videos on cell phones and have true HD. Like you could have true high definition videos off a cell phone. Like what happened? You see all this online content now, and somehow none of it's true HD anymore. I completely agree with that analysis. I don't know what's up with that. Now, I will say, as far as X is concerned, they basically force you to reduce the quality to 720. That's the problem on X. They force you to reduce the quality to 720. So you automatically lose your HD. And I'm sure in that process of compressing it, it really ends up not even being 720. So if you're shooting a video and uploading it on X, I do think that's the problem. I don't know about YouTube. I don't know about Rumble. I don't shoot video and upload it directly onto those platforms. I do that onto X, and then it gets pulled from X and put on those platforms. So I don't know. But I agree. I used to go out with nothing but a cell phone. And I remember it would piss some of my camera people off originally. And I'm like, hey, look, it'd be new people that would come into InfoWars and they'd want to carry all this camera equipment around. And I'd be like, hey, just shoot on the iPhone. And they'd be like, no, I'm not going to shoot on the iPhone. I don't want the low quality. I'm for high quality. I want the best quality. I'm like, look, there'll be times where we want that, but we're going to be moving around. We're going to be jostling. It's going to be chaotic. Trust me, you're not going to want to deal with the camera. You're not going to want to bring the equipment out. You're not going to want to have the big expensive camera equipment in the back. Just trust me, just do it on the iPhone. And you could shoot on an iPhone, get 4K quality. I don't know. You know what? I didn't think about it, but I've noticed it too. And now, yeah, I'm wondering the same question. Tay is correct. 100% Argentina Italian. Want to try. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Oh, your Gigi is Argentinian Italian. Want to try what? What do don't answer that. Can we get some Shapiro eyebrows on the stream? The garage studio isn't big enough for those eyebrows. Heavyweight. Are they setting Erica Kirk up to run with Vance? There is a website launching, but maybe that was for Charlie. I don't know about website. I don't know about that. No way. No, I don't think so. I think whatever you want about Erica, but I don't think anybody would be so naive to think that that is a good idea for a ticket. You can think she's a gift from God. You can think she's a holy angel. But you don't want to pick a vice president that's got, controversy, whether it's real or not. So no way. Who knows at this point? Who knows with whatever's going on in the Republican Party and MAGA? Who knows? Anything is on the table, I suppose. Is $5 enough to become an elite GOY? Elite GOY? Oh, elite goy. Okay, I knew there was something. I'm going to spend $6. I should at least be an elite. $7 is a lot these days. Mego Von Villain. I like your name. I like your glasses. I like your hair. So there you go. Now they're going to come for you. But you're an elite goy. Elon got me for impersonating Squidward. Well, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do impersonations without telling them it's a parody. And so Squidward probably reported you. All right. Weird way to end the show with a Squidward reference. So, can we end it with something else? Anybody got anything else? Anything happening tonight? Anything fun? DMT, anything? There was a Vance Kirk website. I'd never seen that. Maybe Charlie was thinking about getting into politics in that level, and so well, that's how we'll end it. There it is. All right, 20-hour break. 20-hour break today with the bonus time. 21-hour. Oh, no, 20-hour. It's really a 20-hour, 15-minute break. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. There you go. Smile more. God bless. Godspeed.